does it come with? Complete set. Everything you need. Under war with all the Fixin.
Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to this week's episode of Survivor with All the Fixins. I'm your host, Max Dawson. I am here in Valley Stream, Long Island, with a very good friend of mine, former Masaya white collar tribe member, guy I spent a lot of time getting to know both on the beaches of Nicaragua and while locked up in hotels in Costa Rica for our glorious pre-jury trip, Joaquin Souberbielle. Joaquin, welcome.
Maxie, how are you, buddy?
Very good, man. It's great to see you. It's great to be here with you, to meet your family, to be in your home. We literally spent hours together, dozens of hours, if not hundreds of hours, talking about home, talking about our families, talking about our lives, getting to see it now, share it with you.
Right, of course.
It's special.
It's magical.
It's a moment.
It's hundreds of hours. You add those hours up every single day, 24 hours. What was it, 12 days we had?
Let's have a toast.
Together? Of course.
Let's toast.
Maxie.
To Tyler.
Oh,
Shireen.
to Tyler, Shireen.
Carolyn, Mama C.
And my girl So.
My girl So. White collar.
White collar, baby. Forever.
So much to talk about, both about last night and also about our time playing Survivor. But
What a night last night, huh?
What a night. Let's talk a little bit about last night. Tell the folks at home what we did, how we spent the evening.
So I was blessed last night. We went to Josh's house in Manhattan, and we got to watch
Josh Canfield from Survivor San Juan del Sur from
Yep.
the Broadway Boyfriends.
Yes, amazing guy. It was such a great host last night. Had such a great time. I walked in literally 3 minutes before the show, right? I just made it.
You just made it.
I walk in there. Who do I see? I see Jeff Varner. Oh,
Jeff Varner.
Yeah, that was pretty epic.
That was, at this point, it takes a lot for me to get excited when I meet a Survivor contestant. I was in total fan mode last night.
I thought I was gonna walk into like a huge party, and it was just a little get together with just some of our close friends.
It was just the two of us. It was Natalie and Nadia,
the twins who are just like, oh my.
And that was your first time actually meeting them in person as well.
And they are out of their fucking minds, and I love it.
And
I absolutely
you actually have met them online before, right?
Right. I actually even linked up on Tinder with them. I believe both of them, if I remember.
Really?
Correctly.
They both swiped. Yes. Very, very good. Now, Joaquin,
we swipe right.
Swiping right has an important role to play in your Survivor story. So we'll definitely talk about Tinder and Survivor at some point in the evening. But let's talk more about last night. So we show up, we get together. Jeff Varner is in attendance. He brings with him Monica from Big Brother Season 2, who is herself a huge star, just a person who just lights up the rooms, got crazy stories, crazy sass, crazy attitude.
Beautiful. She, I actually didn't know that she was actually from Big Brother, because he said that he lived in New York City for 12 years. So I just figured, it was just another friend. But wow, look at that.
Varner shows up with, you need to eat the mic more. You need to speak into your microphone.
Sure, of course. Does it sound better for you guys?
Yes, definitely.
All right.
So we show up, Varner is there, and the episode starts. And clearly Varner's Anchor tribe is in a terrible position to begin with.
Right.
And I don't know if you feel it all this way, but when I'm watching that and hearing about the terrible conditions on their beach, I can't help but think a little bit. Now, I don't want to say it was as bad as we had it, but
we'll never know. But we had it pretty bad. Think about it. We had Redemption Island Beach.
Yeah,
for our
Exile.
I'm sorry, Exile.
The place
Island,
where everyone on Natalie and Josh's season spent the entire time complaining about if they ever had to go there, how desolate, how barren, how forbidding it is.
Right.
And we're there trying to make a living,
make the best of it, right? We don't know any better.
So Anchor has this terrible beach, which according to Peih-Gee's exit interviews, some of Varner's interviews, you have to walk a 10-minute hike up a hill and down a hill to get to the challenges, to get to water, to get to tree mail, to get to anything.
Is that really that bad, though? Think about it. Our beach was about the size of my backyard here. And for everybody that doesn't know, I live on Long Island, which, New York, we don't have much land out here. But at least you can, get away from each other. We couldn't get away from each other if we tried.
No, we were right on top of each other. And I think that contributed a little bit to the tension.
At any point, you could turn around and see where another person was throughout, basically the 12 days that we were on there.
Definitely.
But
they're saying it is hurting them because they have to exert more. They have to burn calories to get water. Whereas, we had a 5-minute walk to that. Not even.
We also didn't have the, yeah, you're right. You're right.
So think about this too. No food. They get out there with no food, no rice, no beans.
Well, that's what happens when you don't win, right? That's at the end of the day. That's the name of the game.
Well, they had a tough start. They've been pretty atrocious in the one challenge we'd seen up to last night, but then they go out for a reward challenge. Jeff says we're going to mix it up. The hero challenge.
Jeff Savage, the Savage.
The
Savage,
Now, I've heard some folks say that was sort of to give Anchor a break, because if they had to run Abby and Varner in that challenge, there's no way they're even competitive.
So what you're saying is basically yeah, I guess you're right. But, they could have. I don't know. I don't think the Survivor, I don't think they would have done that.
Well, not to give them an advantage, but to give them a break, just because they're so overmatched at this point.
Right. Of course.
You've got Wu, who is
poor Wu.
Poor Wu. Wu's great in challenges. Savage is, he played college football. He's reminded
a monster.
Us last
Do you
night.
see him? He's in shape. You kidding me? Look at his calves when he runs.
Oh, no. He's got amazing calves. But the two of them up against Joe and Terry and Keith, for example.
Right. No,
you're
right.
Jeremy and Spencer. It's a tough matchup.
With Abby, Varner, and
Tasha. Well, Tasha's actually great at challenges as well.
Right.
So the three older alpha dudes decide to take on. Oh, dude, we got a text message from Rodney.
I'm getting a text message.
Oh
from Rodney
boy,
right.
We're gonna get Rodney on here later, folks.
I can't wait. Can't wait.
Promise,
I haven't seen him in too long.
This is the much awaited Rodney and Joaquin.
The bromance.
The bromance.
Yeah.
Just cue the romantic music.
Yep.
Swing those arms.
And I might have a surprise for you guys later. You guys just wait and see.
Oh boy, lots of surprises tonight on all the fixins. So we get to the challenge. We get into the challenge. We've got the three older alpha dudes who are running the challenge against one another. What do you make of that challenge? Because let's just put it this way. 3 tribes. We need to do a hero challenge, white collar, no collar, blue collar. You're running that challenge for us. No doubt about it.
100%. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I don't think anybody could talk me out of it.
So what is that about? I mean, apart from the fact that you probably were the best challenge performer on our tribe, if not in the game, we'll never know because we never got to see you go head to head with Joe and Mike. Right. But in those early challenges, you dominated physically. And but what goes through your mind in that situation when you could go out there? It's not for immunity, it's for reward. You could go out there single-handedly and either win it for us or lose, and either way, you might exhaust yourself to the point where your challenge performance is compromised for the immunity. What goes through your mind? Are you just doing it no matter what?
At the end of the day, I'm going to give it 150%. And, I can't go to sleep at night knowing I let you guys down. You know what I mean? Forget myself, let you guys down. So, I don't have a problem putting everything on my back, the whole team, and just taking care of business. That honestly, I work great under pressure, to tell you the truth. So if you guys would have thrown me out there by myself, I would have came home with those sausages.
Joaquin always comes home with the sausages.
With the sausages. Yeah, remember last year, same challenge,
thing, right? Yeah, except I wasn't on your tribe, so you took home the sausages, and I took home Will and Jen. It's all fair. It's all good. So we get that challenge. We get Savage. Really, I mean, it's one of those Boston Rob is carrying his entire family on his back challenges. You wouldn't get the reference. You'd have to watch Survivor to get that.
Well, we all know I only have a season and a half under my belt.
Well, the lesson that we learned,
included, so.
The lesson that we learned though is that you're probably better off watching less Survivor, considering how, you, Rodney, some of the other folks from our season who are not as familiar with the show, how well you did compared to how well someone like me did. But
don't be so hard on yourself, champ.
But so it's this challenge where these three guys have put themselves out there, exposed themselves, destroying themselves under the hot sun, and it wins. They win. It pays off in the short term, but in the long term, it does not go their way because Savage is not physically there in the immunity.
Of the older men left on the season.
Yeah,
now Varner's gone. Got Terry, basically just Terry, Savage, and Jeremy. Jeremy, I guess.
So these three guys put themselves out there. There's a school of thought, one that I definitely followed. You never want to put yourself right out there in the most highly visible position. Day one,
put your neck on the line. Right?
When they said, "Who wants to be the leader?"
Hey, man, we huddled up. And I chose. I didn't throw my hand up at all.
Well, this is funny because I looked at Tyler and I went, "Oh yeah, you dude." And Tyler went, and he looked at you and went, "You dude," and you went, "I got this."
I did, right? I did.
But
what an idiot! What a rookie mistake.
But that said, you might do the same thing again because it's your nature.
Exactly. I think you're 100% right. I probably would do the same exact thing again. I probably would have chosen someone else. Actually, I was talking to probably last week, I think, maybe, or the week before, and we spoke about the whole choosing and everything, and I turned to her and I was like, if I had to do it again, I probably wouldn't have chose you. I don't.
Why would you not have chosen her?
Because now that I think of it, we're the two young bucks, the two people that good looking on the tribe.
So the very reason you picked her is the reason you shouldn't have picked her.
Exactly. So even till this day, I don't know who I would have chosen.
Who you should have picked? The most strategic pick for you would have been Mama C.
Probably
the person who you least wanted to work with, but in the end, who you really worked with well. But at the outset, you could have just roped her in and immediately made her feel like you and me were good.
Well, they the editing didn't show it, but me and Mama C were like this from basically day 4 on.
Yeah, as soon as
you can vouch.
I can vouch too, and it always confused the shit out of me because you and So were so after her at the beginning of the game, and as soon as that vote went down and there was that big blow up, it was like in the aftermath. You and Mama C were like, New York, all right, baby. Like you just hooked up.
Yeah, and no, I wasn't really going after Mama C from the beginning. I was trying to get rid of Shireen, trying to get rid of the weakest, competitor there, at least physically.
Yeah. Well, and in that respect, we were talking a moment ago about, similarity between your mindset and that of someone like a Savage.
Right.
Same sort of thing. He gets out there and he talks about, we got to keep this tribe strong. We got to vote out the people who are not going to win challenges for us. We got to keep the physical assets.
I was basically running this same thing. Yeah. That's what it came down to, at least in my mind.
And it's, some people have said it's a sort of old school game, but for the early stages of 3-tribe Survivor, all you need to do is lose one challenge and to be down one man or woman. And suddenly it's tough to come back.
Right. Of
course. If we had lost that second challenge.
If I didn't hit the buckets.
You didn't hit the buckets.
Who's going home if I didn't hit the buckets?
Listen, that's honest. You at the time apparently said me. And I either way, I would not have been surprised if it was me or Shireen, given what I know about what happened. But that's not what's important to me at this point. It's that if we had lost, no matter who went home, think about what kind of disadvantage we would have been going into the next challenge.
Regardless if we went home.
It's correct. If it's me, you guys are lugging wood.
Truth, I was gunning for Shireen, but the problem was that they wanted to cut off the head and the snake, and that was you, baby. That was you, my love. It's at the end of the day. Let's be real.
I know that
you were pulling the strings.
Well, listen.
Regardless,
listen.
Right.
But what I really apart from we will talk. We'll talk a lot about Worlds Apart. Obviously, we're like two old timers reliving old glories. But I think the real thing that I'm bringing this up, the real reason I'm bringing this up is for some insight into 3-tribe Survivor. You got to make decisions in 3-tribe Survivor considering multiple variables. You got to think about the fact that not just do you want to stay competitive in that challenge, do you want to maintain your numbers, but do you want to be lugging an extra run of wood? Do you want to be making an extra water run? Do you want to be struggling that much more without the physical contribution of a person at camp? Because when you start losing bodies, you start losing
having to
workers.
pick, yeah, the work doesn't change. You know, you end up picking up the work for the person that's not there.
Exactly. And that's something that I think Angkor is probably suffering from at this point. Not only are they exhausted, not only are they starving, not only is the morale low. Is Abi going on a wood run? Is Abi bringing back big handfuls of crack wood?
No, for
is
sure.
Abi bringing back Savage is probably going out and felling trees.
Right.
And you know Tasha works hard.
He's yeah, of course
but he's working hard and he's burning calories, and then he's got to go out there and compete.
Basically, yeah, Wu and Savage, you know, probably taking care of most of the duties, because, you know, as you saw from day one, Jeff, you know, he knew he had to conform to the new way of Survivor. So, you know, he implemented a lot more social game. And, you know, he said, the fuck with the old school. And, you know, I gotta get with it or get the hell out of here. And that's honestly, that's what Survivor is. You better adapt before you know it, you're gone.
Yeah. So 3-tribe Survivor, it's the only Survivor we really know, except for after the swap. But it's tough, right, and it's different. And they're all learning this.
But even after the swap, we were only, you know, 7, 6.
Yeah,
4,
yeah.
It wasn't like
we were what?
I could imagine
8,
what it
8?
could be like imagine being 10.
No, sorry. We were, how many people were we at the swap?
The swap, we were.
It was after Lindsay went home. So we were 7, 7.
7, 7, right?
Yeah. So no, I can't imagine being 10.
Imagine being 10. Jesus.
I can't imagine
those personalities clashing.
All those bodies in the shelter. You got
Jesus Christ.
Trying to fit Will and Dan in one shelter.
Abby on my team. I mean, I love her to death.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Abby. You know Abby. You've spent time with Abby outside of the game, as have I. We both, I think, would say that we consider Abby to be a friend. What is it like watching her on the show? Because you've never seen her.
I love it. I love it. No, I haven't. But you know, I've spoken to her about it and about how she played the first time. And I honestly, I love the little firecracker Brazilian we got running around. She makes things interesting, you know, and she's like that in real life. This is the most amazing thing, you know. She's like that 24/7. She's on fire. She doesn't stop. You know, I only got to spend a weekend with her when I flew out for the premiere. But yeah, she's hilarious. She's 24/7 like that, you know. I can imagine being there, starving, tired, cold at night, hot during the day, agitated, and then you got Abby, you know. Oh man,
you dead to me.
You're dead to me. I love that line.
No, talk a little bit about, you know, because one thing that when Abby first played, there was quite a lot of discussion about the fact that she's not just facing the challenge of playing Survivor. She's also coming from a completely different culture.
Right, of course.
And Abby is really worldly. She's traveled. She's lived in Europe. She's lived all over the United States.
Yeah,
she's got degrees. She's on her, whatever, 3rd language at this point. She's got multiple degrees in the U.S. She's not.
She's got her own business. She's doing her thing.
She is not, by any stretch of the imagination, anything other than an intelligent, accomplished person.
Right.
But she definitely seems to be struggling with some kind of cultural, social, right, some sort of friction that arises out of difference. Now you have South American roots,
of course.
You have family. You were just talking about how you're going to be heading down there for the holidays.
Right. I leave soon. Yes.
Do you see anything? I mean, obviously, Uruguay is not Brazil. But
right. We are neighbors. We are touching each other. We are close, but no, definitely not even close. Very, very different.
Do you pick up on that? Do you have from you're a world traveler?
Of course.
You spend time with people from Brazil.
My mom, to tell you the truth, you know, she's a firecracker too. You know, she's in her old age right now. She would kill me if she heard me saying this, but my mom was a lot like Abi-Maria when I was a lot younger, you know.
Really?
Oh yeah, cracked the whip, the wooden spoon. Are you kidding me? Oh man, it was her way, or that was it.
Or you're dead to me.
Yeah.
Did you ever like Joaquin? Yeah. You're gonna eat your dinner, or you are dead to me.
Are you kidding me?
You're dead to me.
But yeah. She's over here looking at me like I'm crazy, but yeah, no, it's I see it a lot, you know, a lot. Even it's just Spanish women in general, you know, they're fiery. They have a fire. They have like a passion, and you know, Abi-Maria, as many times as she says she's going to try and change this season, that's something that she can't. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you saw her with Peih-Gee over what a bracelet in the bag. Could have been an honest mistake. You know, it's hard to change something like that. That's just instilled in her since she was probably little. That's, you know, it's not going to happen overnight, and it's sure as shit not going to happen in 39 days.
So let's talk about this topic of change, because obviously change and evolution is a big theme running throughout this season. We see the people who can change. You know, Cass, for example, has demonstrated thus far that she is capable of reinventing herself, and in a way that's shocking to her fellow tribe mates who are constantly suspicious of, you know, what's Cass doing? Is she making a fake idol? Is she somehow no, she's being nice. So we do see people who are changing. Spencer struggling to get in touch with his emotions and open up, connect with humans.
Right.
And then on the other hand, we see people like
Jeff
Abby.
Say today? Jeff said, what did he say about Spencer this morning?
What Jeff said, he's
he thought he was autistic to a certain extent, right?
But he's struggling to change. But then we see people like Abby, who it seems like no matter how much they talk about changing, they are always going to be the same. What do you think? Do you think is it possible for the tiger to change his or her stripes? And B, is that going to happen out there on the island?
No, like I said, it's definitely not going to happen outside on the island. 39 days, too little. You're cold. You're hungry. You hate these people, but you got to see them for 24 hours. Everything agitates you. You think you're going to change something like, you know, a fiery person like Abby. That's just it's not going to happen. You know, and we're seeing it happen right now. You know what I mean? It's what are we? That was day 10, I think, this episode.
Yeah, there's the 4th episode. So it's days 10, 11, 12.
There you go. We're a third of the way through.
Yeah.
I think it's going to happen another 24 days. I doubt it, you know, but I hope she goes far. That's my girl. I really do. I'm gunning for her to be one of the last ones.
Well, she certainly makes the show much more
and now that Jeff's gone,
and exciting.
So
big loss with Jeff.
Big loss.
The Survivor world was rocked last. I don't think there's a Survivor contestant.
I think anybody was more rocked than anybody inside of that room last
night.
It
was a little. I mean, listen, it was an honor in retrospect to know that Jeff shared that evening with us. And it was great to be able to be there and support him.
We had no idea who
he's
going to come spend it with us.
It was like, oh my God, it's Jeff Farner. Oh no, he went home. Oh God,
Jesus Christ. I was looking at Nadia and Natalie, and we were just like, what the fuck is going on?
And it almost felt like a spoiler that he wasn't going home, because it got to tribal council and there was all this talk about Jeff and Woo.
I was like, for sure. I was like, oh,
clearly it's not Jeff because he's here with us. He'd be at home surrounded by friends, family, loved ones.
That's exactly what we were saying to each other.
Well, kudos to Jeff Farner, who just made the first 4 episodes so much fun and who just lit up the Survivor universe. Bright, shining supernova of personality.
Right. Like he said yesterday on his little Twitter, he said, "At least we stole the show, man." He stole it. It was
the Jeff Farner show for the last 4 weeks.
With that Kygo quote, I was like, Jesus Christ! But yes, he definitely stole the show. At least the four first episodes. I wonder which direction this is going to go. What are you thinking, Max?
Listen, I don't really know what to make of it. It's taken all of the momentum out of this season, which was the season about Jeff Farner's midlife crisis / menopausal reinvention.
Right.
What is the storyline now? What are the big storylines? The storylines are Jeremy is so well positioned, playing such an amazing game.
So happy for him. Found the idol. He got to celebrate. We got to see it.
Not only does he have the idol, he just has everyone's trust. He's got the perfect position of power in the tribe. That said, we've seen Jeremy be in a position of power, seem to have it all figured out, and lose all.
He's very calm, cool, and collective, and that's what I really like.
Jeremy is like another man from Boston, a proponent of the 3 C's.
The 3 C's, right?
Foxborough and Saugus, right near each other. There's something in the water up there.
And I'm sure he's a Patriot fan.
He's definitely a Patriot.
Of course, all those guys are Patriot fans, like my boy Rodney. I wish I could answer the phone. He keeps texting me, but I'm a little busy, Cham.
We could put him on speakerphone or something like that. We're going to get Rodney on.
Don't worry.
Another storyline is the Joe Anglim, hagiography. the celebration of Joey Amazing, our
He's
boy.
A champ. He's right here. Like I said, I wrote to him not too long ago, and I said I wouldn't have chose anyone other than myself, obviously, to represent the Dirty 30, and I think he's doing such a great job.
Don't want to put you on the spot, Walk, but there was someone else from the Dirty 30, another guy who was up for.
Oh man!
No, not Mike.
No. I know.
Listen. No, it's for the best. Quite frankly, I'd prefer to watch Joe on Survivor than to watch myself. The kid is
I think all
natural.
I think all these 16-year-old girls in the United States are going to agree with you on that one.
Well,
my friend.
Listen, I can't lie. Joe has to try to not be good at things.
I know.
It's his challenge. Let's talk a little bit about.
It's so hard to do that, though. It's
how many times are you going to hit your? What's the over under on hitting?
We're going to go 5, over under 5. What do you guys think out there? We got 2. We got 3 more to go. But
and thank you for reminding us. What do you think out there? Tweet at us. Use the hashtag SurvivorATF. Tweet at me, FY Maxwell, at Walk's World. The Twitter addresses are on the screen right now. Your questions, we will get to them. No questions will remain unanswered. This is Dirty 30 Talk.
We got all night. We got all night, baby. Max doesn't have to get to the airport tomorrow till 2, so we got all night.
We're not going anywhere. So
got a couple of bottles of wine, and
your questions will be answered.
It's gonna get
good. Let's talk a little bit about Joe. We had some conversations about Joe back on Masaya Beach after the first couple of challenges about what we were going to do about the quote unquote Joe problem. You played with Joe for a couple of days. I played against him in a couple of challenges. I want to hear your take on Joe, the Survivor player.
Hey, man, the guy's a stand-up guy. That's what it is. He's very likable. Everybody likes him. He's a good-looking kid. He's strong as shit. Obviously, as we see from my season, as we're seeing right now. I can't believe they didn't choose Joe, actually, to go actually do the challenge, the reward challenge. Right?
What do you think the logic is there? Is there a logic there? I mean, Terry Dietz, just to put it in perspective, Terry Dietz is tied with Mike and a few other folks.
Oh, I did not. Oh, yes, I was told. Right.
He is one of the most successful challenge.
Understood. How many years ago was that?
That was 9 years ago.
Yeah, Father Time catches up to us all, Max. And it's gonna catch up to me. Eventually, it's gonna catch up to you. But I mean, if I have a 24-year-old kid that's been a stud, probably his whole life, right? He played college sports, volleyball. I don't know if I would have, raised my hand as a maybe I don't want to
mid-50s.
50, I was going to say 50-year-old man. I don't know if I would have actually
Terry's one of those guys. Terry's one of those guys like you, like Savage, who is never ever going to shy away from an opportunity to put himself on the spot to perform. But you got to think, Joe goes out there and destroys the other 2 guys in that challenge. I mean, Joe as a challenge competitor is a unique combination of someone who is physically gifted with strength, speed, agility and balance, mental prowess,
smart kid,
and superior spatial reasoning ability. So he will be in a race. He will run farther, carrying heavy weights. He will outsmart you, and then he will defeat you in a puzzle.
Of course.
So what do you do to beat Joe? You don't. You just hope he screws up and vote him out.
And at the end of the day, that's his downfall, And if it wasn't Joe last season and it was me, either way, we were going home. You can't go in there kicking ass and taking names.
I'm going to go out on a limb, and this is premature. This is based on seeing Joe in person. This is based on that first challenge when we knew there was no way that anyone should finish that tree puzzle in less than 15 minutes.
Right.
When we saw Joe with basically just Jen and Haley by his side beat us, beat Mike, beat Rodney in challenges. This is me going out there on a limb. Joe is the best challenge competitor in the history of Survivor
that you've ever seen.
That I've ever seen. Mike Holloway has 5 wins, as does Colby, Terry, Tom, and Ozzy. Give Joe 5 individual challenges, or at least an opportunity to maybe lose one, but I think Joe can tie the record. This is not to take away from anyone, especially not Mike, who deserves his status as one of the all-time greats. But you put Joe and Mike in front of a slide puzzle Or you put Joe and Mike on a telephone pole and tell them to hold on?
Not even close. Joe would run laps around Mike.
Mike has something that Joe doesn't have, though. Mike has an uncanny ability to focus, concentrate, and conjure a higher power in a challenge. I think Mike taps into his spirituality in a way that enhances his abilities tenfold, 1,000-fold, 100,000, 155,000.
Are you saying he has superpowers?
I think Mike has superpowers.
Oh, shit.
I think Mike is capable of doing things that he shouldn't be able to because of his faith. I think Mike's faith allows him to be stronger than Rodney or faster than Joe or smarter than Shireen. He believes, and that gives him an advantage in challenges, but just pure capabilities.
Confidence is key, to tell you the truth.
It is.
Especially out there.
It's just the guy who gets up there in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs, bases loaded, and does not break a sweat. It's just like he's, Tuesday, and it's a Tuesday in June, and it's just an average at bat in the 3rd inning.
Right.
It's a cheater.
Football practice. Right.
It's a cheater. It's a Brady.
It's a cheater to Brady. No, it's a Kobe. You're right. When you're right, you're right. No, 100%.
But and this is again, I'm trying to be controversial, and I'm not trying to blow more smoke up Joe's ass. Lord knows he does not need it. But we got to talk about one thing if we're going to talk about Joe. And this was brought up to us by Lisa, my good friend Lisa, and many others as well. Why does Joe not have any armpit hair?
That's so funny. I did not notice, even after watching all of last year, right? And the first 3 episodes, I noticed that last night. Why does he not have it? Does he not have it because he shaves it? Or has he gotten it lasered off? Does he not have it on day 36? Joey,
you
call up
Joe.
Call Max right now.
You know what?
We need an explanation.
We need an explanation. The Survivor world wants to know. Hold my mic. Oh, actually, I'll put it down.
There you go.
Just talk for a second.
No. I didn't notice it for a couple of days. To tell you, a couple of days for at least a year and somewhat. But last night he was holding his hands up above his head. And I was like, what's going on? Because it's day 10, 11, or 12. And shit, if I shaved my armpits 2 days ago, I'm ready to rock and roll like with the best of them, looking like Max's beard. But I don't know. Maybe he got him waxed before he went on the show, or maybe he's got a condition that he just doesn't grow hair under his armpits. I don't know. But,
I think it's called alopecia.
Alopecia.
The inability to grow hair.
Really?
Joe,
but then his eyebrows.
The text message is out there. Joe,
let me answer Rodney.
Please, Joe, get back in touch with us. But Joe is just, for every minute he's in the game, you're not winning the game.
Yes, that's why I had absolutely no idea. The whole room yesterday, at least me and the twins, we were talking. We were like, "What's going on? How did Joe not say?" Well, I mean. Then again, maybe he didn't want to put his neck on the line like we just spoke before.
Well, I just got a text from Mike, or a tweet actually, and Mike said, sorry guys, let me pull this up. Mike said
maybe he's shaving it off every morning
Joe
with a machete.
He was reminding people, this is actually, and Mike is someone who definitely worked with Joe before he went out there to talk about strategy. Mike said, Joe is reminding everyone of how much of a threat Terry is by letting Terry do that challenge, by letting them see Terry go against all odds, be a 52-year-old guy who is hustling, hauling ass, and kicking butt.
Right.
He puts a target on Terry's back.
Right.
So if we're to believe Mike Holloway, Joe made a strategic decision in sitting out that challenge.
Oh yeah. That's 100% true. I mean, for my boy's sake, I really hope he goes under the radar. I really do, to the point where he knows he's got to turn it up and he's got to win 4 straight. That's the only way he's going to get into the final. There's no way.
Yeah.
What other way? How else is he going to get to the final 3 or final 2 if he doesn't,
Now, I don't know if it's I don't think Joe can go under the radar, because even if he were to sort of stop stepping up, he's such a magnetic, charismatic kid that he's not going to fade into the wallpaper.
Everybody loves him.
Everybody loves Joe.
Reason.
But he can, I think, I mean, I didn't think he could do this before. I think he can use his charm. I mean, like, the Joe Anglem, like the wink and smile is fucking powerful.
Kidding me? Those pearly whites? Yeah.
He shows those pearly whites.
You saw the yoga episode.
The yoga.
Are you kidding me right now?
But Cass, you got all of these female contestants
Cass is drooling over
eating out of his hand. And I'm not to say that they're going to lose sight of their games and ever allow Joe's charm to overcome their own strategic intelligence. But they want to have, and this is a big thing. Let's talk about this. Survivor votes are decided by numbers. They're decided by strength. They're decided by camp life. But very often it comes down to who do you want to spend those long, boring, miserable hours with?
Right.
And I know that.
Trust me, I know.
We'll talk about that. Well, we got there's an elephant in the room. Clearly, people want to know your opinion on Shireen's game. I've given my opinion already, and I
heard you got.
I regret that I was not more supportive of the person who was my closest ally in the game. And for all of the animosity you and she and others had in the game, I felt like in Shireen, I had something that maybe no one else had out there. Someone I can totally trust. I could totally trust Shireen. And not to say that she wouldn't have cut me loose if she needed to.
I'm sure she would have.
But
anybody would have when the time comes.
But I just felt like I had a kindred spirit, someone who understood where I was coming from, and who I could just I didn't have to explain myself. And that is so valuable out there. And the fact that she had beef with you or that she and Tyler didn't get along, for me, it was totally canceled out by the fact that I could look at her and she just knew what I meant. But clearly you and Shireen had a different experience.
We sure did. We sure. Yeah.
So let me frame the question in terms of that thing of can a tiger change her stripes? Can a leopard lose her spots? Can Shireen change? Did she change in the 2 episodes you got to see of her out there? How did it compare to what you saw of Shireen when you played with her in Worlds Apart?
It was very, very similar. I'm not going to lie, she's a brilliant, brilliant woman and extremely strategic. Since the second she was told she was going to come on, she knew exactly what was going to go on. She knew the backgrounds to every single player outside of the game, inside of the game. The woman knows every single line from every single season and can tell you basically anything about Survivor. And you can vouch for me on that. I spent I spent 10 days, 12 days with her, listening to you two go back and forth and just repeating lines from past seasons. And you know what it was? It was just too soon for Shireen. That's what I think. Everybody was very well aware of her antics, how smart she was, and I kind of had a feeling that it was going to happen within the first 3, 4, 5 episodes. There was no way they were going to let her go too far. She's too smart. She's just way too smart, honestly.
And that is something that people like Terry and Varner have said. They said, we got rid of the smartest, most strategic player we ever had to compete against.
Really?
Those were Terry's words. And
speaking about Shireen,
after voting her off, Terry was sort of saying, I feel good. I went up against one of the most strategic people I've ever had to square off against, and I took her out.
Yeah, they were kind of in maybe an alliance, right, man?
Terry and Shireen?
No, Jeff
and Shireen.
Right.
Yeah, Jeff and Shireen had a very good working relationship, and from my understanding of the situation, pieced together through exit interviews and through conversations with Varner last night, Shireen and Varner came into the game with the intention of working together. Varner targeted Spencer. Spencer was an important ally and asset of Shireen's.
Right.
And when she determined that Varner was going after her number one, she attempted to turn the target on Varner. And that was Varner. Well, Shireen is smart. Shireen is strategic. Shireen has an ability to make a compelling argument. But Varner's Varner's charisma. You met him last night. Talk a little bit about this guy.
Oh my goodness! I mean, what guys from North Carolina, Southern charm. The guy was amazing. I only got to spend an hour and a half with him, but his charisma was through the roof. I can't say anything bad about the guy. You know, we all loved him. By the end of the day, it was too much. Even the girls, everybody was just amazing. And I didn't even know. I thought you guys all had met him before. It was the first time.
He immediately brings you in.
Right.
He's got those sparkling eyes, that southern
bear hug,
big hug,
yeah.
looks you deep in the eye and talks to you like you guys are best friends.
I know. It's just
he disarms. He disarms you instantaneously.
That's exactly it. He disarms. And that's a really good. That's actually one of the very important strategy. He disarms you with whatever you're going to come at. Think about it. He and Abby were.
I mean, they were a dynamic duo. He had her
be a dynamic duo with Abby. I mean, like, you got to know how to disarm. You know, like the best of them.
He is Varner. He's good. He's really good.
He's great.
And
great.
I think with a little more time to sort of burn off some of the steam, the pressure that had built up in his system in the intervening 14 years since he first played Survivor, 15 years, whatever it was.
It's a long time.
It's a long time. It's a lot of life, a lot of angst and anxiety to just clear out of your metabolism, your Survivor metabolism, given some time to sort of cool off, calm down, and sort of appraise what's ahead of him. He never had a chance. I mean, the guy went to 4 straight tribal councils. Can you imagine going to 4? Talk a little bit about a day when you go to tribal council, how taxing it is. Talk about the routine.
It's that day is non-stop. Well,
so you go to the challenge, and
he
then
didn't even have a chance to even go back, if I remember correctly, to the tribe and talk with everybody and get. Imagine we lost that first day. So goes home. Before So goes home, straight from the challenge, straight to tribal. I can't even imagine what that's going. I can't imagine what's going through Jeff's mind. Every single one of their minds. Well, they're probably scrambling, going crazy. They can't talk.
And Vitas, who ends up being the victim of that situation that night, doesn't have any ability to check in with his people, doesn't have ability to work out.
Absolutely nothing.
It throws you into a total disadvantage. Sorry, I gotta.
No, it's all right. The holes are right there.
Talk a little bit about, though, just to give fans an understanding of what it's like. You lose the challenge, you come back to camp, you get back in, and what happens for the rest of the day and the evening? Talk us through that process.
So usually you get back around late afternoon, I'd say. And everybody's scrambling. Everybody's scrambling. Everybody knows the drill. Everybody's going off in twos. It's paranoia to the max. Your anxiety's through the roof. If you think you're good, you're definitely not good. I learned the hard way.
Yeah.
Right. So, everybody's going crazy. Nobody can. Your brain just doesn't stop. To tell you the truth, it's nonstop, and you're trying to think of every outcome and what could happen and how you can deter things from happening. But at the end of the day, it's pure insanity. That brings you to the breaking point of where you're literally going crazy because your mind just can't stop. The compulsive thinking is just out of control.
And then at a certain point, Sugar comes and says, "Lockdown, everybody! Lockdown! No talking, everybody!"
And to tell you the truth, you get like a little sigh of relief because then it's over. Like, there's nothing else you can do with it. That's it. It's done. You did as much as you could. You spoke to as many people. You expressed everything you could possibly express at that point. And for a split second, you feel fine.
You exhale.
Because there's nothing else you can do. And you tried your hardest at this point.
You walk out, you grab your torches, you walk out. They film that in a couple of different takes. They film you from behind, then you film you walking toward, then they film you from above. And then they say, "Everybody, we got Cineflex coming in, the helicopter." You take, 20 minutes to get through shooting all of the different coverage of that. Then they load you up into the van.
And I think the anxiety starts again once I get in the van.
Okay, so you get in the van. They close the door. You're locked in the van. There's an assistant producer in the back with you. It's
dark in the van.
Kyle's giving you a speech.
Yeah.
He's
if you're watching, my friend, I miss you.
Kyle.
I miss those speeches. But
he's reading the speech off the paper. You're sitting there. You have the little dome light in the back. That's got a piece of
light, so
it's got a red piece of film over it, so you could just see the glow.
Yeah.
And as much as that is a nerve-wracking ride, you're sitting down. There might be air conditioning. It might be the only time of the day where you're sitting on something comfortable, where there's a fresh air blowing in your face. You're trying to just take yourself out of that moment. You're just trying to take
I
yourself out of
get
that
anxious,
anxiety.
right? I'm telling you, I get anxious the second that I step back inside of that van from the beach. My anxiety goes through the roof. Along with my blood pressure.
How long is that ride for you typically?
It feels like a couple hours. It's really only 15 minutes, depending on what beach I was
depending on the beach.
With our beach for Masaya, it was a little longer. That was a long fucking ride. Give me a break. That was like a 25-minute ride to Min, to wherever the fuck we were going. But once I got put on the Blue Tribe, it wasn't bad. I think that one was 15 minutes. 15 was quick. We were in and we were out.
So you ride into Tribal, you get there, they take you out, they put you in a tent. They put you in a canvas tent. It's dark. They put you in a canvas tent on the ground. Is dirt.
Dirt. You have spiders.
You're sweating.
Everything.
The only water you have is the water in your canteen if you filled it before you left.
Right.
You're filthy.
You're looking at these people and you know it's Judgment Day.
It's Judgment
Day. That's what it is.
You're pacing, you're walking, you're sweating, you're trying to figure out what your next move is. They call you out one by one to go see Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben asks you how your bowels are, if your pee is clear, if
good to go.
He checks your injuries, he looks at your eyes to make sure everything's okay. They send you back, and then they come out with the sound equipment.
And then sound equipment.
So you stand there,
1 2 1 2, then,
and you don't move while they pin the mics on you. And the guy says, here's a tip: you can boil your clothes, and it'll kill many of the germs and microbes that are growing in them.
Oh my, yeah, and we boiled it. It didn't really work like they had told us it would work.
That's their passive aggressive way of saying
you smell like shit.
You really smell.
Yeah, take a shower. But then after they leave, Riley comes in.
So you got a producer's watching you, and you hear periodically the producer goes, Riley, go for Steve.
Right.
Riley, go for Jackson.
10-1.
We got a 10-1 here. So what's a 10-1?
A 10-1. Jeez, I've taken so many 10-1s in my life. Basically when you're waiting in the tent and it's hot and you got to piss. And it's so funny that everybody has to pee once you get into the tent.
As soon as you get into the tent,
that's what I think it is. I think it's the boom. It tells you no matter what. You haven't drank in an hour, 2 hours, the whole day. It doesn't fucking matter.
No,
it's the anxiety. You get anxiety, and you got to go
anxiety,
pee,
and you have to ask, and they watch you.
Of course, they watch you. Yeah,
they have the guy. What was his name? Is it JMO? The guy, the head of security, watches you.
JMO, Riley. Then there was a woman. Jesus Christ, there's a woman.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
She was kind of mean.
Oh, no,
mean.
We're talking about. Oh, we forgot one important thing. Wardrobe. Before every challenge, wardrobe comes out. After you've been mic'd, they stand you up and they take a Polaroid of you.
Right. Oh,
they take a Polaroid of you to capture what you look like in that moment for pickups, for continuity, for Dream Team, making sure that when they throw out there the extras, the Dream Teamers to shoot the aerial shots. If Walk didn't have a shirt on, Walk's Dream Team representative doesn't have a shirt on, Max's does. So they take that Polaroid of you. But if you have to go to the bathroom, you're watched, you have to ask permission, you hear in radio chatter, you don't know when you're going out there. Finally, at a certain point, they say, okay, guys, it's time.
Ready to rock and roll, baby.
They walk you through the dark. They walk you up to the torch station.
Right on the torch station. You got,
and there's the pyro guy.
The pyro guy.
Lights your torch.
Listen, those torches were pretty heavy, man.
Our torches were really heavy. So each of the tribes had torches made of different materials.
Last night to compare how heavy. Ours were heavy.
Ours were the heaviest.
Really? Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
So this is kind of a little bit of behind the scenes from Worlds Apart that I heard a little bit about from one of the producers at one of our parties, that the theme was sort of a Swiss Family Robinson shipwreck. People saw that, but the idea was that they were going to use different materials. Typically, they either use all bamboo or all bush poles. Bush poles are hard, heavier, much heavier material. Is that what we were using
as we were holding?
White collar was bush poles. Blue collar, and I know no collar because I carried their flag, for example, was bamboo. Weighed about an eighth of what the Masaya flag weighed.
Right.
So our tribe was made, all of our materials were made out of much heavier, much more durable, sturdy materials, including our torches. So when you pick up that torch, it's a lot of weight. and you're marching through the dark.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous.
And someone's in front of you and they're dipping it back at you.
That's the problem. These, you know, they don't really explain. They just tell you to grab it. And, you know, you have these girls that weigh 120 pounds soaking wet after, you know, not eating. You know, they could barely hold anything. And they have to grab these 20-pound torches, 25-pound torches. It was dangerous. I mean, at one point I thought for sure, you know, it's going to, you know, the worst part is, you know, the oil can fall out. And that's the real problem. You know, no one's really going to put the torch to your head, but that steaming hot oil falls on.
Yeah.
Forget it. You know, you have to medic. Hello, you're done. And then you got your whole season's over. But no, yeah, that's one thing I remember. Our torches were so freaking heavy that, it was, you know, I didn't, it's all right. I mean,
you carry those up, you get up to the tribal council, you climb the stairs, you walk in, you put your torches down, you sit down, and then you just get hit with the lights, the heat, the thunder.
My God.
And then Probst sitting there, fucking smug look on his face, cracking his knuckles.
Sizzles you no matter who you are.
It's time for me to grill you, motherfuckers.
I wish, you know, that people don't understand. They look at tribal council and it's maybe like 7 minutes long on TV, you know, and you know, maybe they don't show pro spitting fire 24/7, but that's an hour sometimes. And like Terry said yesterday, I mean, not Terry, I'm sorry, Jeff yesterday said that was, you know, it was like at least an hour and a half that they were going at it.
Him and Wu going back and forth.
Exactly. So, you know, they think it's 7 minutes up there and, you know, Jeff is all right. He's not that. No, Jeff is a fucking asshole. And, you know, and I love it. You know,
in the best possible way.
Of course, in the best possible way.
You mean this as a compliment?
Yeah. No, of course. You know, and he drills you and he makes you spill everything.
Oh, no. And the worst thing you can do, of course, is to not answer.
Oh, my God. You don't answer his question. That's it. You're going to get a tenfold. You're going to forget it the third degree. You're done. You better answer his question on the first or second time he asks it, because if you fuck around, that's it. You know, you're done.
So, Joaq, I just realized I haven't plugged my computer in. I'm going to plug the computer in, but I'm going to ask you a question before I go over there.
Yeah.
You and I both, unfortunately, only got to attend 2 tribal councils.
Right.
I want you to tell me what was different about that apart from the fact that you went home. What was different about that second tribal council? What do you remember about it? Maybe some stuff that we didn't see on camera. What was notable and memorable in that night before you knew you were going home?
Well, let's see. So I got back from the challenge and, you know, everybody's scrambling. I remember taking a walk with Mike and, you know, Mike just playing the shit out of me as we go get the water. I know you remember, buddy. I know you're watching. Call me after. Call me later. But, and yeah, and I'm thinking I have everything in the bag. You know, I'm super confident and a cocky asshole like you guys saw, who I'm not really in real life. But yeah, he totally played me like a fiddle. And yeah, I mean, the first time I wasn't so confident. So I remember right before we went to tribal, she was telling me, listen, I'm not so confident. I think I'm going home. So that got me a little shook. I was a little scared. When I was on the blue tribe, I thought everything was easy peasy. I was very, very comfortable. And now that's one thing that I wish I could go back and change. I wish I could go back and change exactly how comfortable I was throughout the whole entire thing. Because once you're too comfortable there, it's basically downhill. You can't be too comfortable. You have to be on your toes at 24 hours a day. And when I got to that blue tribe, for some reason, I don't know. I guess it was because, you know, I felt I had the numbers because I thought Sierra was so in the bag. Like, I mean, I thought she was so in the bag.
Let's talk a little bit about that, because that's something that we didn't. And here we are. We're talking more about Worlds Apart than we are about our season. And listen, there are plenty of podcasts that are going to talk about last night's episode. Yeah, but how many of them are going to?
I told you, I'm not going anywhere.
How many of them are going to talk about, you know, stuff from Worlds Apart as well?
Exactly.
I heard a lot of stories when you came to Ponderosa about what went down those days, about how tight you thought you were with Sierra, not just Rodney, but how you thought Sierra was ready to absolutely be done with Mike and Dan and Rod.
Yeah, it was, you Rodney, Dan, Mike, before the merge, before the mix up happened, they had this one plan that regardless of what happens, they're going to tell everybody that they're just talking shit about everybody. So I went in there and immediately everybody threw Sierra under the bus. So I just thought, hey, if they're throwing her on the bus this hard, she's going to be such an easy target. I'm just going to go in there, swoop her off her feet and tell her, like, let's rock and roll. We're taking us to the end. And that's basically what I did. Like an idiot, I saw right past Joe where I could have just been like, hey, yo, we're all on the outs and I got Rodney, so who gives a shit about Sierra? Let's fucking rock and roll. And unfortunately, I didn't do so because I saw Joe as a really big threat, knowing that we were going to hit the merge anytime now.
And we were, of course, talking in White Collar a lot about we got to get rid of Joe.
The whole time. Since the beginning, since day one, we were like, all right, all in attendance was throwing out Joe. Let's get him out of here. And I went into the other tribe with the same mindset as the beginning where, like I said a half hour ago, if you don't fucking adapt, even if it is daily, you're done. And you know what? It's easy for me to say I couldn't take my own advice, and and that was basically that. But yeah, the one big difference was that when I went into tribal council with you guys, I was a little weary of what the hell was going to go on. I wasn't so sure.
Talk a little bit about, oh man,
that was
it's
a disaster,
known that you were
man.
coming into that tribal council, not just based on what happened the last 3 days. You didn't have that much exposure to Survivor prior to playing.
No, like you guys probably all already know, because it's already, I've never watched a goddamn season of Survivor.
Now, exactly how much did you watch?
I'm going to tell you. I'm going to go in right now. So I am at trial, the trials to get into Survivor, which they found me randomly walking the streets of LA. We'll get more to that later. And they send me home and they tell me, all right, start watching. And it's different, it's very different binge watching it and then watching it and waiting for next week and watching it again and watching it again. So I couldn't binge watch it because I was like, oh, it's the same fucking shit over and over. And I really wasn't thinking correctly. And now I see it every other week and I'm like in love with this show. Like I really can't miss an episode. And I understand what everybody talks about now. But I knew nothing, man. I fucking knew nothing. I went out there and I was like,
how many episodes had you watched?
Before I went on there, I saw season 28, about 6 episodes. And then I remember maybe season 1 when it first came out and it was the hottest shit out and everybody had to watch it. And maybe I saw 1 or 2 or 3 episodes.
7 years old.
Exactly.
At the time.
I was a little older than 7. 15, yeah. No, you kidding me? I was 13.
Hold this for a second.
I'm fucking old, man.
Yeah, you're old. Dude, so you've seen 6 episodes or so.
6 episodes.
Before you go out there. Now, tell us the story. Tell us the story of how you ended up on Survivor in the first place.
My story is a fucking classic. I actually just sent the story into Tinder the other day because they sent out an email saying, hey, do you have any cool stories that have happened to you on Tinder? And I was like, yeah, I have the coolest story and it's the most marketing material you'll ever fucking need. You're welcome. So there's an app, Tinder, basically new, maybe like 3.5 years now at this point. But I'm just on vacation. My cousin from Uruguay got a full scholarship to school out here for basketball. Graduate school. I say, hey, I'm going to take you out to LA and Vegas for graduation before you go back to Uruguay and play professional ball. So I take him out there. It's the last day in California. I'm like, what do you want to do? Oh, we'll just go grab lunch in Venice Beach because we were staying. I think we were staying by like Manhattan Beach. We were like, oh, let's go to Venice Beach. We haven't gone yet. We go. I'm sitting in a restaurant shooting the shit playing Tinder. If for you guys that don't know what Tinder is, it's basically an application where you pick up guys or girls. It's a online dating app. So you swipe left or right. I swipe left on a blonde. She swipes left. I think nothing of it.
I think you mean right.
Right.
Yes.
I swipe right on the blonde. She swipes right. I think nothing of it. I go home. I fall asleep. Next morning, I leave for Vegas. All of a sudden, I get a text. Hey, I know this sounds crazy, but I work for a TV show and you would be the perfect fit. Do you have any time or are you interested at all? Now I'm in Vegas. For you guys know what happens in Vegas. I'm busy, you know, whatever. Now it's Sunday night. I'm going to fly home on Monday. We start talking. She turns out, hey, I work for Survivor. Listen, we really need you. Can you fill out all this stuff? Da, 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 da.
About what time of the year is this?
This is, I want to say, the last week of May 2014. We flew out end of July.
Yeah.
End of July.
Game started August.
Right. So they're really, you know, cutting it close. I'm like, she's like, I'm telling you, it's great, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, sure, fuck it, why not? Can't hurt. So I send it off. I'm literally doing my like video inside of the room while I'm getting ready to go out for the night.
In Vegas.
So at this point, I don't really care too much, right? Because I have so much things going on right now. So I guess that's why I was so good in the video. I didn't give a fuck. You know, for everybody trying to make a video, just be yourself. All right, they're going to find out who you really are, regardless if you're not yourself in that video. By the time they fly you out, they're going to send you right home. Be yourself.
And I think that with our cast especially, but I've heard it so many other times, the people who are on the show, their story is, I had drank a bottle of wine and I said, fuck it, I'm going to make a Survivor video. Or, you know, I just got up after an episode and my friend took his phone and we went out in the backyard and in one take, we made my video. It's the person who spends 6 months editing, scripting, practicing, rehearsing, getting feedback. You're not getting on the show.
No, it's just not going to happen.
And I fall somewhere in between those two. I made my video. I worked on it a lot, but the way I worked on it was I shot it and I had all this stuff planned. I talked about, I'm going to do this and just like that. I didn't use any of that. The only stuff I used in my video was all the stuff in between takes where I was complaining because it was cold. So my entire Survivor video is me saying like, hey, I'm Max. I'm a professor. I love Survivor, teaching a class on it. Fuck, it's so cold. What the fuck? Why is it so fuck? It was just me complaining.
While you were out in Chicago? Or
out in Chicago.
Yeah. I was
so
gonna say cold
none of the stuff I planned. It was all the impromptu stuff where I didn't think I was going to use it, but it was really me. It wasn't me standing.
The real you.
The real me.
Right, of course.
So that's the thing. It's Joaq in the room getting ready to go out. It's Mike watches the episode where Colton quits and says, fuck this, I am making my video tonight. It's Jen drinking a bottle of wine and turning on her webcam.
Fucking, yeah.
That's how you, this is for all the people who want to get on the show.
Right, because there's so many people, that you too, right? There's so many emails and Snapchats and this and that.
I look over a lot of videos these days and people, and I feel reluctant to say this because it's something I was accused by no less than Jeff Probst. Don't overthink it.
Right.
Just put the camera on. And if you can't, in 3 minutes of just having the camera on you, do something that conveys what sort of person you are, you're not going to be on the show.
And the thing is, they don't understand is that, you know, you could be as fake as you are during that video, but that video is like step one of like
they'll break you. They'll break you.
You have how many interviews did we have to actually get to until before you actually sat down with Jeff, the final interview?
Oh God. I mean, for me, it was much longer than you.
If you're a boring ass person, you know, or not.
So let's pick up the story. You make your video in Vegas.
Make my video in Vegas.
You never told us, by the way. This blonde who you swiped with.
This blonde was Allie Pohevitz.
Okay, right. You don't know at the time, but Allie.
At this point, I had no idea she was an ex-Survivor contestant, and you know, I was like, holy shit, this girl has like the best pickup line ever.
Yeah,
there is no better pickup line than, hey, you want to be on TV? Let's meet up for a drink.
Well, yeah,
are you kidding me?
Are you at all thinking like, I'm gonna wake up in the bathtub full of ice with my kidneys harvested?
Well, this is what happens.
She's a dude, or
right. No, what I thought is I'm gonna go and like go up to the elevator, penthouse in whatever hotel, and it's gonna be like a porno. Like it's gonna be a full-on porno, and I'm gonna walk into it like, what the fuck is going on?
You're funky, baby.
Plus, I have my
whatever. Funky is the word.
They're all like rooting me on, like, yo, bro, this could be fucking epic. This could be, you know. So I'm like, all right,
epic porn or an epic,
even
like
if it is an epic porno, then whatever, fuck it. I have to ride out. You know.
So you go into this thinking that you're either going to be on the greatest reality show of all time, or you're going to be involved in some sort of really intense. off the wall porno.
Yeah, honestly, I swear to God. Plus, I had my friends chirping in the back of my ear, you know, so that didn't also help. And they were throwing oh my God, I actually have no idea what they're saying.
I want to see this video. You got to find this video for us. We got to include this as special footage.
I have the video somewhere. I'd have to, you know,
We'll find that. We'll find that.
We'll find it. I have it somewhere. I haven't deleted it.
So Allie Pohevitz invites you to either be on audition for Survivor or to be in some sort of really epic, gnarly porn.
Right. And
you fill out the application.
It's a hot blonde, and if I remember correctly, she had a picture where she was wearing like some like Chicago Bears outfit, and I was just like, this is, you know, this is a little weird, you know. And I didn't even think to even Google her name or anything. So at this point, I'm just like, hey, I have 4 hours available before I have to catch my flight. You guys can have those 4 hours, and then I have to go to LAX because I have to fly home because I have work.
So you fly from Vegas to LAX,
back home. Or not back home. I drive actually.
Oh, you drive?
I drive from Las Vegas to the Hilton at Universal, whatever it was, penthouse, whatever, all the way to the top. I open the door, and it's 5 women sitting in like a little circle with like a chair with like, might as well had a fucking spotlight on it. It was like surrounded like this in a chair right here. So at this point, you know, I love interviews, like job interviews or any sort of interviews. I love to go and talk about myself and tell everybody how fucking awesome I am.
That's a funny thing that I find is a common characteristic of people I meet from Survivor. Most people I know, nothing they hate more, with the exception of giving a speech, than a job interview. It throws them into a panic.
What? I love that fucking shit.
Oh, dude, it's my favorite thing in the world. Nothing more fun than an interview or a speech.
Easy. Like, it's easy, man. You got to go in there and tell them how fucking awesome you are. And if you can't tell somebody how awesome you are, then, you know, I don't know. You got to reconsider life, you know? So I went in there. I saw 5 women on top of everything. I was like, oh, not even a guy to like shoot me down. Like,
so you at this point, you know you're good.
At this point, I'm like, this is a fucking piece of cake.
And now, who are some of these women? Like, you know these women now.
Allie's there. Lynn is there.
Lynn Spillman, head of Survivor casting and casting for the Amazing
And she's
Race.
ruthless. She's ruthless. As you know.
Oh,
you know,
of course.
We've spoken. But what she really wants is you to fucking back her down and just, you know, go back and forth with her.
She wants to see if you can stand up to her.
Exactly. And, you know, and that's exactly what I did. Who else was there?
Was it Penny?
Penny was there,
Clifton,
right?
Who can either be your best friend in the world or your greatest enemy. I
actually had a good relationship with her. She wasn't bad. And I think Kaylin and one other woman that I never saw ever again.
Okay. So you're in there how long with them?
Fuck, must have been like 45 minutes nonstop going back and forth. Mainly it was just me and Lynn going back and forth.
And what's the line of questioning? What is she asking you about?
Everything from family to what I was doing here to have I ever seen this show. You know, work was a big thing. Obviously work was a huge thing. You know, it was white collar, blue collar, no collar. I mean, that's basically the basis on the whole fucking episode.
So they want to know about your work, and you worked in medical sales.
Right. Medical sales. So that was great.
Big Survivor pipeline into
sales. Yeah, because you have to know how to work people in sales. So, you know, and you have to know how to work people in Survivor. So, you know, it was basically 15 minutes of round talk and then 30 minutes of me and Lynn just going back and forth bickering. You know, she's from Philly, I'm from New York. You know, I'm a fiery person. You know, we just did not, you know. And before I knew it,
you're the consummate Leo, I think you might say.
Right. Yes, I definitely am, for sure, 100%. And yeah, so before I knew it, Max, it was.
So your time, you don't have a lot of time. You do that 45 minutes,
and they know that I have to leave.
Yeah, you're like, fuck you, I got to get out of here. You can't.
That's exactly what happened.
You're in the power position,
of course, because I stand up once they say everything's over, and I'm like, well, I'm gonna go catch my flight. So they're like, oh, just wait 5 minutes. So I'm outside with Allie, and she's like, wow, you did fucking great, you know, because that's what they do. They talk you up. They want, you know, they know what they're doing.
Not everybody.
No,
there are people at that point who they say, thank you so much, and they put them on a plane.
That sucks. So 5 minutes went, and then I think Penny came outside, told me to come back in. Lynn still was not sure, but then again, I don't know if that was just her just playing her role, and she was shitting on me the whole fucking time. The whole time.
And how is she shitting on you? Like, is she questioning you?
Oh, God. You ready for this one? She said, you know, we had somebody from Long Island on the show, and he quit. And, you know, I think you're going to quit. And at this point, I'm like literally enraged. I'm like,
who is she talking about at this point?
I don't know.
Okay, if
you think, since you know
one of the 42 people who are listening, 41. Sorry, we just lost somebody. Who quit from Long Island?
It could just be her.
Could just be her fucking with Joaquin. But
right.
So she says you're gonna quit. What do you say?
So at this point, I'm enraged. I'm like, you don't even know me. I would never quit. I was like, my pride would never let me quit. I don't care how hard this is. And the big thing was I've never been fucking camping in my life.
Oh, okay. So
that
she's
there was one of
that.
the questions. You ever been camping? And I was like, fuck, I'm gonna be honest with this fucking bitch. I was like, you're being an ass. No, I've never been fucking camping. I've never lit a fire. I've never slept outside. No, what I think of camping is going to like a lake house. Fuck it. And she was like, this kid's not going to last. No fucking way. He's going to tap out by day 3, blah, 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 blah. Then she brought up like, oh, you look like you're in shape, And I was like, oh, I try. She's like, yeah, we had somebody in shape and, they failed because there wasn't enough food or whatever. Blah. And I was just like, listen, sweetheart, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it 100%.
You call Lynn Spillman sweetheart?
Sure did. I'm telling you, we were going back and forth.
At this point, you're in. If you and not to sort of suggest that this is you have to it has to come from an authentic place. You call her sweetheart. The great thing is that Lynn always says this isn't a job interview.
Right.
Don't be polite. Don't be respectful.
That's what I know. That's exactly what they want.
Fucking mix it up.
Right. And you hear me right now. I curse every 2 seconds on TV. Same thing.
Honestly, bro.
Honestly,
seriously, bro.
This is who I am all day, every day. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. So, and I think that's what she, at the end of the day, she liked. And I got to see her again at the finale, and we had a conversation, and I brought it up like, you thought I would never make it. She was like, that was just me being me. And, we hugged it out. She said, I had a great conversation. She's like, you did great, and it means a lot coming from a woman like that,
So what happens next? You leave? Do you stay? You're brought back in. She's still grilling you.
Oh, I walk outside of the room. They bring me back in, and she makes it seem like, all right, we're going to take a chance on you. And at this point, I'm like, take a chance on me. So I first look over to Allie like, what the fuck does this mean? Because she's like my only, and I don't even know her, but she's the one that got me. So she's like, yeah, we're going to check you in. So they explain everything. And I'm like, fuck, I just took a week off work. Now I got to call my boss to ask for another week off work. Then I was like, oh, this is going to be great. But luckily, I called my boss and 100% do it. He was backing me up 100%. He was like, oh, this is the greatest thing.
So you didn't go through the whole, something you told them.
No, I told him straight up. I really did. Well, I can't lie to him. I got to tell him that I'm staying out here for something.
So
it's got to be something real.
They want you to stay at the hotel.
They want me to stay. So they check me into the hotel.
What day of the week is this?
This is a Monday.
So this is the beginning of a casting cycle.
No, the casting cycle started on Friday.
Oh.
At that time.
Okay.
So I walk into the first dinner, and everybody's already been there 3 days.
Okay. So who do you see?
I see anyone? Vince and I see Lindsay.
Is it Vince and Lindsay?
Yeah, I see Vince, Lindsay. I see this super hot Hawaiian-looking girl. Oh God, this girl from Dallas that I didn't know she was from Dallas, but one of the producers then told me like at the end of the season, super smoking hot, fake tits, blonde, like fake everything, but she was so hot. So everybody looks at me like, holy shit, this kid just came out of nowhere. Who the fuck is this guy? Blah, 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 blah.
You getting looks from Vince?
Vince is a fucking asshole if you don't know him.
So
like, if you don't know him, Vince is like giving you that look up and down like you're a fucking, who the fuck are you?
What are the impressions you make of people like Vince and Lindsay in that time?
Oh, I'm looking at fucking Vince. I'm like, fuck you doing with a fucking feather in your hair? You look like a fucking idiot. Like, and he's wearing like the brightest like yellow, blue, red shirt. I'm like, all right, this kid's like out of his bird, you know what I mean? But then again, to be on Survivor, you really got to be a little off. I am myself, and I know you are. So
hey man, speak for yourself. So you see Vince, how about Lindsay? Thoughts on what she's?
Yeah, Lindsay. I see Lindsay, all these tattoo on her face, 2 different color hairs, and I'm like, oh, I don't think anything of it. I'm like, oh, I'm from New York City. I've seen worse. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Vince would grill you, and I would just stare down too until I sat in my seat, and he's still looking at me. I'm like, all right, I'm
so Vince is mad dogging you in the
yeah, for sure he is. And then so they're like, who the fuck is this guy showing up on a Monday? We've all been here since Thursday, Friday, and I leave 2 days before them. Because I have a vacation to get to. I had to be somewhere on Friday. So I did Monday through Thursday. They did Friday to Friday. So right already, I don't show. I could wonder what was going through their mind. Oh, probably the kid didn't get casted. He left.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Then I show up to the island. They're like, what the fuck?
Little do they know that you, and this is again, we were talking earlier about spontaneity, confidence, not feeling like you're overthinking or over preparing. You're just like, I gotta go.
I told them. They said no.
I'm not your
need
slave.
Another day, and I said, hey, listen, I gotta get the fuck out of here. I have a plane to catch on Friday. I need to be in New York Friday morning, and Friday afternoon I gotta leave.
Okay, guys, just want to take a quick break to remind you are listening to All the Fixins.
All the Fixin
on the On the Block Network. Thank you to our network chiefs, Spencer Clausen and McCrae Olson, for putting this together, for making this possible. Spencer and McCrae want us to remind you to subscribe to the On the Block YouTube channel. That's just go to your favorite web search engine. We prefer Yahoo because we are friends with Shireen. We do not fuck around with Google anymore. Yahoo,
I love you, baby.
And look for the On the Block Network. Hit subscribe on YouTube. Comment on the videos. Reach out to us on Twitter, FY Maxwell, and at Walks World. Also, you can follow Joaquin on Snapchat. That is where you want to be if you want to follow Joaquin's adventures around the globe.
Yes. I leave for South America. I just finished Southeast Asia. Came home because I broke my leg while I was out there. But I'm picking back up in Lima. I'm going to do all of South America. So if you guys want to watch, please, at Walks World for everything. Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat.
I cannot recommend Walk's Snapchat enough. It is so much fun. You'll see the Walk that I got to know out there in Nicaragua and on the trip in Costa Rica. You'll see his family. You'll see his friends. You'll see his world travels, his exploits. There's nothing boring about Walk's life. I
try, man.
Even the nights where he's in watching TV, he's with his little baby brother. He's spoiling his little brother, taking him out for pizza and ice cream, or playing video games. How old's your little brother?
He just turned 7 the 24th of September. He's complete opposite of me. Blonde hair, blue eyes, little Swedish boy.
And he is the kid who's got the big brother who everybody wanted growing up. Walk spoils the shit out of him.
Maxie, stop.
So you get to see Joaquin, the big brother, but you also get to see Joaquin at all of the different EDM festivals around the U.S. and you get to see
vacations, Vegas, Cali, Southeast Asia,
Miami.
Big trip to Vancouver for all you guys out in Canada. I know we have a lot of fans out there coming.
You guys are in Vancouver.
We're going to do Whistler Blackcomb.
So, follow Walk on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Yeah, Walk is the sort of guy who is I'm
always on the go.
He's always on the go. So if you want to keep up with his travels, his adventures, and I know I do, you follow him on social media.
Thank you, Max. I appreciate it.
My adventures are much more mundane. They involve appearing at random survivors' homes every Thursday to interview them about their experiences.
That's some epic shit, man.
And petting cats and going to the beach. And that apart from that, it's pretty mellow. But back to where we were after you've just subscribed to the On the Block YouTube channel. Walk is telling us about he has to get out of casting early. Did you get to have your meeting with Jeff Probst? How did that go?
I sure did. It's, all right, so this is what you get put in a van with all these random people. Joe was there. Joe was there. It was the 3 people that were on the season that were there. It was Joe, Lindsay, and Vince. Actually, I totally forgot my man Joe was there. And it's so funny because when I saw Joe, I snuck out, I can't wait to work with you. And
oh, really?
Yeah, I fucked that one up big time. But all right, they put you in a van and they tell you, hey, this is one of the last interviews. You're about to see Jeff. You're about to see everybody. We're all stoked. We're like little kids in the candy store. Our anxiety's through the roof. We're like, running these lines through our heads, what we're going to say, as if like we have any idea what kind of questions they're going to ask. And the questions they asked were like totally out of the blue. So you go in there and you get sitting in front of a whole panel of people that are
network executives,
the higher ups.
You're sitting in front of the head
everybody.
People.
Anybody up
CBS.
for Survivor was there. There's at least 15, 20 chairs filled. Everybody's looking at you, and you got the mic, man. And the best part of it is they let you just go off. And if you're not hitting the right keys, they'll start asking questions. Luckily for me, I took the ball, I ran with it, and I think I got asked one question the whole entire time. I didn't let them speak like I like to do in interviews. I like to really take advantage. And before I knew it, it was 15 minutes in. I didn't stop talking. I had them laughing, talking about Tinder, talking about girls, talking about life, travels. And before I knew it, they're like, all right, this is enough. And I went down there, and the biggest sigh of relief, you know, I think the first person I saw was Penny, because they literally, they coach you up. As you know, you were there. They coach you up.
They let you know kind of what they want you
and
to
they literally
be or see.
and they tell you you're the best, you're the shit, you know. They really get you going. And I walk down there and I look at Penny. She just comes, gives me a hug. She's like, you did great, and at this point I'm looking at her, I was like, you're fucking lying, I did terrible. And she's like, no, you did a great job, man, you really did, I'm so proud of you guys. And before you know it, I went back. It was Thursday. I had to fly home because I had to leave Friday. And I grabbed my last meal, which I'll never forget. It was a filet mignon with potatoes and asparagus. And I had to leave. I didn't have time to eat it. I had to take it in a doggy bag, jumped in a car, got dropped off at Burbank, had a 9 o'clock flight overnight to New York. And that was that. And then 3 weeks later, I get a phone call telling me, hey, cancel your trip to Europe this summer because you're going to Nicaragua. Well, no, obviously they didn't say Nicaragua.
They didn't say Nicaragua.
We all
you're
knew because it was already leaked and everything like that. So.
Yeah.
And so that was basically it. And then
and then the rest is history. The rest you saw on television.
The rest is I have a funny story actually, because
please do.
So it's 3 days before. 3 days before, you probably know, I probably told you the story. It's 3 days before we're about to leave for Nicaragua. I'm packing all my bags. I'm like, oh, let's go. I'm really excited. I'm looking for my passport. Can't find my fucking passport. So I have a literal panic attack. I don't know what the fuck to do. So I call the embassy, or I call whoever I got to call the passport. And they're like, all right, we're going to cancel the passport right now. You have to wait till the last day. And then you have to go to Connecticut and get a passport for one day. It'll be the next day. So I freak out. I cancel the passport. I then call production. Hey guys, I know I leave in 2.5 days, but I lost my passport. I have no idea what to do. So they're looking at me like, Joaquin, are you a fucking idiot? You gave us your passport when you came in for all the interviews. We never gave it back. Yeah, typical Joaquin. They're like, you're an idiot. We'll call you right back.
You canceled it.
But I canceled it. So now that I canceled it, now I can't even like use the passport that they have. I have to get a new one. They literally got my passport the day I arrived to Miami. So I flew to Miami without my passport. They had it there, had it shipped to the hotel in Miami.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Talk about
that. I mean, that could have been, you could have been not playing.
Yeah, it could have been.
I mean, and we all know what happened with our season, that initially there was supposed to be someone different on the white collar tribe.
I think there was supposed to
NFL
be a black male
legend
athlete, if I remember correctly.
Yes, NFL legend Willie. What's his name? Why am I forgetting his name? Wide out for the Chicago Bears, fastest man in the NFL for a couple of years. Tyler, what was his name? Olympic sprinter.
Willie
Randolph of the New York Yankees. No, it wasn't. Whatever the case,
McGee,
we subsequently learned that Tyler was initially going to be on the no collar tribe. That we had an older African American male who was supposed to be the third. Three. There he is. Joaq has hit the lamp in his parents' living room for the third time, folks. If you're keeping score at home. Anyways, let's I wanted to wrap up the episode discussion before we get back into a few questions from the listeners, and maybe even see if we can get that guy Rodney on the telephone. Let's just talk. Let's not dwell on the blindfold challenge too much, other than to say
it looked excruciating compared to the ones we did.
Well, now I have a very special memory. You know, we talked earlier about how Joaquin is the sort of guy who always is going to put his neck on the line in a challenge, does not step back, stand down from an opportunity to prove himself in the arena of battle, unless a blindfold is involved.
Yes.
Before that blindfold challenge, I saw something in Joaquin that I've never seen before or since. Fear. Joaquin looked at me and said, I don't want to go out there.
No.
And I said, Joaq, we should do this. You and I should do this. And Joaq looked at me with a look of dead seriousness
and was like, I'm not going out there.
And it was a look where I could not argue with him anymore because I realized I was confronting a man's mortal fear.
Right. No, that's the God's honest truth. It's literally one of the most frightening things ever, you know, to be blindfolded. Honestly, you know what it was? I wasn't confident, and I didn't want to put it on my shoulders if I wasn't confident. And I felt like I should probably step down and let somebody else take care of it, because I didn't want to put my neck on the line in something that I knew that I just, you know, it was anything could happen. Anything could happen.
To put this in perspective, though, it's not just that you're blindfolded. And for people who don't know, underneath the buff is an actual blindfold.
Right.
The buff is transparent. You can see through a buff. You cannot see through the actual darkened out blindfold, which actually has patches, I believe, sewn into the eyes. You are completely without your sense of sight unless there's some sort of weird thing that happens, like what apparently happened to Joe, because I would be surprised if Joe couldn't see through some sort of slip in his blindfold last night. The way he was performing,
something through the grapevine, right. But if I wanted it to happen to anybody, I wanted it to happen to my boy.
You want it to happen to your boy. Joe was doing amazing last night, but it's not just that you can't see.
It's pitch black.
It's pitch black. Yeah. You have a buff. The buff is over your
Everybody's
nose.
Screaming.
The
Everybody's
buff is
screaming.
The buff's over your nose.
Oh.
In order to cover the blindfold, the buff, remember, goes over your nose. And Joaq actually did get blindfolded, but he was pulling the pulley.
Right. That was. I still
the blindfold is over your nose. It is in Nicaragua. It's got to be 98, 99, 100 degrees with 95% humidity. In Cambodia,
I was out there while they were, you know, they were already home, but it was like a month or two after. I was in Thailand, Vietnam, and shit, man, it was just as hot. And the humidity was out of fucking control.
We heard things coming out of Cambodia, I think for the first season, 115, 120 for the challenges.
That's some serious shit.
I mean, you're not drinking, you're not eating, you're in direct sunlight, 115, 120 degrees. And you have a buff over your nose. So there's, in addition to the sensorial disorientation of losing your ability to see, there's a claustrophobia of the hot air being blown into your face by breathing into the buff.
Problem of mine.
Claustrophobia. So these challenges, I mean, people love to watch these challenges and laugh. They put the goofy sound effect. Oh my God, he's dropped. Boom. No, these are deadly. We saw Kelly Remington almost lose her head.
Girl, MGK.
In our challenge.
Machine Gun Kelly. Yeah.
I mean, Kelly's a cop. If that happened to anybody else in that challenge, that it might have been over right then.
Oh man.
But yesterday, I mean, think about what we saw. Varner almost loses a toe. Spencer almost breaks his leg.
Spencer almost broke his leg. He doesn't really, he doesn't understand how lucky he was right there.
And so for people watching, this is for the you know, one of those.
I nearly broke my leg the first episode of the first challenge. Remember?
Yeah. My
leg went through the ladder, and the first episode, I'm coming down the ladder, my leg slips and falls right through, and my body goes forward. Luckily, my leg came out with it. If it would have stayed in there, it would have snapped in half.
Yeah, I mean, these challenges are no
real deal. They don't care. It's great for TV.
No joke. And the blindfold challenge in particular. So we see the blindfold challenge go down. We see Angkor lose, and I mean, at this point, Angkor does not even have an ounce of gas left in the tank. They are.
It looked like they kind of gave up.
I mean, they're leaning. They're using the puzzle pieces to hold their bodies upright, as opposed to putting the puzzle together. And that's where we were talking earlier about the exhaustion that comes from having to maintain camp life with one fewer person. Get that wood, boil that water, march, hike, collect all this stuff, build that shelter.
It takes a toll on the person. Even the littlest things add up when you're out there. Before you know it, it's.
And you got Varner, who's already in not great shape. He's got COPD, a lung disorder. You've got Savage, who's burned himself out in the reward challenge. Tasha, an amazing athlete, but what is she going to do on her own?
Right.
Woo, an amazing athlete, but who apparently is suffering from an injury that he sustained on the first day of the season. And Abby,
What happened now? What happened now?
During the marooning, apparently Woo caught his foot in something, got some sort of rope burn or cut that prevented him from being at full speed. And Abby, who is undoubtedly one of the, all due respect, love you, girl, one of the most, I'll just put it nicely, inconsistent challenge performers in the show's history. And they get crushed. I mean, it's not even close. After they bring the pieces in with a huge lead, and this is the benefit we have of watching with Varner. Varner tells us they've got a 6-piece lead. They've got 6 pieces in, and they don't even get one side of the puzzle together. And it's not to suggest that it's because this tribe is dysfunctional. It's because this tribe is wasted. Down.
That's what happens. The physicality catches up to you, and before you know it, you're literally mentally broken down. Your brain is just not working at the speed that it normally does.
And that's something that we saw Rodney experience.
Man, Jesus Christ.
And maybe that's a good opportunity to try Rodney. Would you want to try this?
Call? Yeah, let's give him a call.
Okay, put your headphones in, because I think that's the only way you're going to get to be able to hear him if we do in fact get him. I'm going to try Rodney, guys.
He's waiting on us.
This is going to be a first for Survivor ATF. We don't even know if the technology works, but yeah, you're going to need to put your headphones in to be able to hear him. So you have to crowd in. Rodney. Let's call Rodney. Can you hear?
No.
You can't hear?
No.
Can you hear?
No, it's not at all.
Gonna be a first. Yo,
Rodney.
We out here, brother.
Hold on a second. I don't think we can hear you on the podcast. We're trying to call you, and we're just going to put you on speaker, I think.
You're gonna have to take that.
Rodney.
On speaker.
Rodney.
Yo, what's up, baby? What's going on, champ?
What up, dog?
I miss you, man. Shit, we should have flown you out for this one.
I know. We had to do a little bash pro reunion. It's been too long. Yo, Rodney.
I know, brother. I know. I leave in a month for South America, so we got to get it in before I get out of here.
You already know, man. My Patriots are playing them Giants, bro. So you got to get out there.
Oh Lord.
Rodney,
oh Lord.
I'm going to share. Actually, I'm going to be moving the mic back and forth because we're trying to do this low budget. Rodney, we got a lot to talk to you about, buddy. It's been too long, but
we'll set up a long one with impersonations. I got some new ones for the season and all that.
Oh, dude, we can't wait.
I just want to talk about how
that
much I miss you guys, man. Because with you, Max, me and you, I didn't get to spend zero time with you, and the outside of the game and just being in the connection with Survivor. This guy is he's the best motherfucker you'll ever meet. He's just so down to earth. And Joaq told me that too. He's like, you know what, Max? I was like, really? He seems like he's all into, like a Survivor weirdo, just all obsessed with this shit. And I didn't get to meet this dude, Max Dawson. You're the fucking man, brother.
Thanks, Rod. Thank you so much, dude. And listen, I've loved Rodney since the first day I saw him at Peih-Gee in Ponderosa. So we had a moment. I had a hand gripper, and I was using it to.
Yeah. I was like, yo, bro, let me get that shit. I need to get my forearm jacked.
Listen, and I gave it to him. When I got it back, he had pretty much destroyed it because the kid's so jacked. I mean, he's ripped like Gronkowski.
Flexing.
He's flexing. But Rodney, you know, we were just before we called you, we were talking about a topic that I think you are really uniquely qualified to talk about. And that is the toll that this game takes on your body and mind. Talk about, you know, we watched the episode last night. Did you watch last night's episode?
Yeah, I did see that, man. And I actually tuned into the end of this, and I heard you guys talking about Joaq was saying about how he wanted to know how to be in blindfolded. If you remember, me and Mike want to know how to be in blindfolded neither because we sat out, and that's what led to the blue collar to actually lose somebody because we were either first or second. But I was like, listen, I mean, I don't know how old the people are watching there. I'm not slamming my cock into bowls. I'm not busting up my knees. I'm not getting an injury this early in the game. So if anybody else wants to step up, now's the time. And then the girls want to step up, and then we just regretted that right away because, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Me and Mike should have just took the lead like we were.
Yeah, I can't tell you how mad he was that he didn't win the chickens, bro. You remember the chickens? How long you spoke about the goddamn fucking chickens?
Well,
Chew my fucking ear about the chickens every day.
It was bad about anything with the food. Yo, we were all starving, but there was just something. The hunger factor in that game just did something to me. I'm used to 5,000, 6,000 calories a day. We beat it in the gym. Like that's just your body needs it and it's calling for it. And the whole setup at Ponderosa was I worked out for like 3 hours before we got there. But then when we got there, we had Tent City, and they fed us 3 times a day. And I'm like, all that preparation to shrink my stomach is down the drain because now I'm being fed again. So now I'm into that eating food 3-4 times a day. And as we know out there, Rodney got no rewards, and Rodney got no food, and I stayed on the same beach for 38 days. Yada yada yada.
Hey, Rodney, hold on a sec. We're gonna just move some stuff around here to set this up. We're doing this like very, very on the fly. Hold on one sec. Rodney, how's that?
I mean, is it good? I'm just talking on the phone.
Oh no. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, right.
So Rodney,
you guys are running the show over there.
what we want to know, Rodney, is also about the toll that being out there takes on you, because we saw last night the Anchor Tribe at that challenge. They're out there hustling, picking up those puzzle pieces in the heat. They drag them back. They don't have anything left to put that puzzle together. By the end, they are doubled over. Talk a little bit about the exhaustion you feel out there, whether it's day 12, day 35, day 36, when you've been going with no food, no sleep, the paranoia, what it does to your body and mind. Because we saw you go through this last season.
I mean, when people can be a challenge beast, like somebody like Joe, which is absolutely amazing, and somebody like Mike, absolutely amazing in this aspect. And if they didn't get jealous about how tight me and Joaquin were, how we would have flipped the whole game around. If they got him through, he would have been the same way.
Better believe it.
I'm telling you right now, the starvation factor to me, and the way that you can compete in actually, like, athletes are fueled. They get the Gatorade, they get the carbs, they get the protein, they get the veggies, and they're ready to go. They eat before. That's how I am. I can't compete if I don't eat, and I'm like a little bitch if I don't eat. And you've seen a whole lot of bitching, but it was entertainment, comedy for the show. But to go out there and not shower, not eat, and it's like the worst feeling ever when you lose a reward challenge, and then you come back and then you see the smiling faces of the people who came from the reward challenge. Like I see like Sierra and Mike that came from the chocolate thing. I was like, oh my god, the chocolates are so good. Like we just ate so much food. And I'm gonna be like, yeah, you enjoyed that? You enjoyed it? Yeah, go fuck yourself. You know what I mean?
Go fuck yourself.
Like, it was like it's mental, and it's also like in your stomach. Like my shit would eat away at me. The worst thing was the last water slide when they said survivors ready to go. I was the last one untying those knots. Those knots, it was like I was trying to solve like the hardest chemistry puzzle. I couldn't even I was like looking at the knots with my hands. I'm like, how am I couldn't get it undone, and I finally got undone. And I'm like, shit, I'm so behind. And there was no food in me, as you've seen. I didn't win, no way to get fueled up, no food, no nothing. And there was just something in me to run up those stairs. And I caught all the way back up to Mike until I got to the puzzle, and you actually didn't see it, but I threw the fucking puzzle pieces. I'm
fuck it.
Yeah, fuck the puzzle. I'm not doing it. So hopefully, my fate will be determined at the Final Four, and then see what happens when it came to the Final Four. One of the most epic endings of season of Survivor with a fire making challenge, which I think is bullshit, but it is what it is.
So I got you guys both on the line here, and Rodney, I think maybe we'll have you, if you've got some time, stick around and answer some of these listener questions that have been submitted for Joaquin, because I think people would love to hear your take on some of these questions as well. But before we get to that, let's talk about what we've seen so far. Rodney, give us your take on what you've seen so far of this second chance season, because I know obviously you've got relationships with some of the people in the game. I'm talking first and foremost about Shireen and Joe, but you've also got you got your boy Jeremy, who lives down the road in Foxborough. Some other folks who've been involved in Rodney Bowl. And you're
Jeremy won the Rodney Bowl too, just to let y'all know.
What do you mean he won the Rodney Bowl?
He won the Rodney Bowl. He came in first place. His team won a trip to Foxwoods, and VIP bottle service, table and bottles, and a free hotel stay because of his bowling ability. So maybe they'll carry over and he'll be winning this season.
Yeah, I'll be there next year, man. I want to see Jeremy, man. I want a one-on-one.
We had you set up, homie. The first lane was actually hashtag Dream Team New York City.
Damn, number one, man. Damn.
The first lane was Dream Team New York City, and me and Joaq became like brothers, as you see on the show. And I also became close to a lot of his friends, and they all came down.
Yeah, we're trying to get Rodney to move down to New York City. I don't know. We'll see what's going on, man.
I don't know, man. All these Giants
I think it's
fans,
a good idea,
Yankees
man.
fans, this could be trouble for him.
I mean, that city's in trouble if that move happens. We got to do some damage over there.
Everybody's in trouble.
See, that's the problem. Like, I know it's gonna get like underlined or whatever. But dude, if you got to see the comedy that was on the way with me and Joaq, bro, like in the Survivor, and like this is what I want to tell people, like when it comes to the game, like, and to show you how fucking real I am and how real me and his relationship were. Like, we put the game on pause because at one instant we like saw one person who was just like the other person, like came from two different cities that usually have a lot of hate for each other, and we brought it and we had love for each other, and it was just. We didn't think it was so obvious at the time, but it was blatantly wicked obvious. And that was the one point in the game where we stopped playing really hard and just went like, we talked about so many stories about like, we can't even.
Yeah, because you know what it was, Rodney? It was like for a second when we were together, we were like, yo, you're like my boy back home. I'm like, nah, you're like my boy back home. And before you knew it, it didn't matter like that we were out there. Somehow our brains were like, took us away from what was really going on. And I was like, fuck, finally I can have a fucking conversation with somebody that's not literally gonna fucking stab me in the back, or who we're gonna stab in the back, or has anything to do with Survivor. So that's really what it was at the end of the day.
So it was two dudes who didn't watch any Survivor and came together, and we did have a master plan. Like, people don't know the master plan that we had, because the master plan that I had with him, I ended up doing it with
right.
Will. It would have been Joaquin there even with Will, and it would have been even stronger. Like, we weren't going in there into the mindset of like fucking over. We were like, dude,
no way.
Slick and strong.
Tell him. It was.
I'm gonna ride with just like I did in the season. I rode with the Blues, right, and then I rode with my Axis of Evil, and I stayed in the middle. You know what I mean? And that's what I would have done with Joaq, and it would have just been it would have been epic. And when they blindside him, like, you got to pull up one of the gifs that they have on my face. It just shows you how real and the love I have. I'm like, what the hell just happened right now? That was the first time I felt so low in the game. I was like, I can't believe I just got this low, where like my brother is out, and it set a fucking fire under my ass. And I'm like, you know what?
And honestly,
how much Survivor I have under my belt, I'm gonna go out there and I'm playing for Joaquin, and you've seen it in a couple
my boy.
episodes. How I said I was playing, I'm doing this shit for my boy, and guess what? I made that shit all the way to the end. And if it ain't for a stupid fire making challenge, bro, we're talking about a close battle between me and Mike for Soul Survivor. So.
Oh man, honestly, yo, bro, I love you. You already know that. I don't have to say it, but yeah, yo, they didn't know that we had a master plan. We really, really did. It was me, Tyler. We were gonna grab Carolyn, you, Will, and I thought Sierra was with it, and we would have rode all the way to the end.
Going back to the Sierra thing, the only thing with that is Sierra, I'll give her credit, and I don't know if she's going to listen to us or whatnot. Sierra was a good actress. At Tribal Council, every day, you're not supposed to, like, touch or talk, but I'm back in there, and I'm pinching her on the shoulders because she told me the plan. But, like, Jeff will ask her a question. She's like, absolutely, Jeff. I hate these people. They're all so mean to me. I can't believe what they're doing. But then,
I can't believe this guy's too good.
and then we get back to, and the boat goes the way it's supposed to go. And I get back, and I'm like, push her on the shoulder. I give her a big hug. I'm like, she's like, I know what I'm doing. So Sierra had a little of that, like, Utah hustle in her that I didn't think she actually had. And she actually had me fooled a couple travels. So, yeah, she definitely food walk with thinking she was on the side, and she kind of fooled me too. Got me looking like a deer in the headlights. So, but that's when I said, listen, I'm in the bottom of the blue collar right now, and do I want to be that bandwagon blue, or do I want to go into the merge pissed off and see what I can find? And the first thing I found was I seen a kind of broken Will, and with Will, I came right to him. They're all enjoying their food and stuff, and I pull Will at the merge, and we're sitting there, and I go, yo, Will, I'm like, so what's going on? I'm like, Joe told me something about, he was close to Vince and something like that. He's like, oh, hell no. He's like, hell no. He goes, he ain't close at all. He's like, it's them three. He goes, and he's the one who got Vince out. I go, oh, really? Well, he told us different. I'm like, yo, we'll get back to the beach. Me and you, we don't have a talk. He's like, say no more, brother. And then we got back to the beach, and that's when you see me and him walking with the wood, and that's when we developed that thing. And then me, Carolyn, and Tyler, we started this four, and then I pretend like I was still riding with the Blues because that's what you do in the game. You can't get too comfortable. So right when I after did that thing with Walk, I'm like, listen, I gotta stay in a spot where my name ain't getting brought up, but I'm working everybody and I'm having fun with everybody, and that's the reason why people kept me around. People thought, oh, I'm this loudmouth, this sexist, this misogynistic pig that nobody could be around. Well, we had the best laughs of our life out there from day 10 or whatever. When we merged with the Blues with me and Walk, everybody, you seen all the drama and the edit, we all cried laughing.
Nah, it was nonstop. It was nonstop theatrics, man. It was nonstop laughs. Everybody was, we were in a good spirits, man. We picked out of a hat basically and got landed with like one of all the strongest physical people.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me, guys. So Rodney, I want to know your take on this season. Who's playing a good, cool, calm, and collective game out there right now?
Usually Boston is a city of hate. You hate to see somebody from here do good. That's why we don't have any like big name rappers or like no supportive groups. But like no bullshit. My boy Jeremy Collins, man. If you go back to my finale when I got the red carpet interview, I'll send you the link. I said, I'm rooting for my boy Joe and Shireen, but I'm gonna have to give it up also for my boy Jeremy Collins. And,
just sorry to interrupt. You remember I was also nominated too.
Oh yeah, no, I know you are.
I wanted to make sure. I'm sure you probably said to the interviewer, I'm rooting for Max.
I'm so focused on you being this new taking over the podcast world, bro. I'm forgetting this information. You know what I mean? Like, I want you to take over.
It's okay.
I want you to take over this shit.
I accept your apology. But anyways, you were talking about your fellow Bostonian.
No disrespect to Carolyn too. She was up for it too.
And Caroline was also up for it. So you were rooting for Jeremy. Jeremy came out to Rodney Bowl. And for all those you out there who don't know, and if you don't know, I don't know why you're 2.5 hours into this podcast at this point. Rodney Bowl is a charity event that Rodney hosted, the first annual incarnation of this past summer. He brought together a bunch of folks from the reality TV world to raise funds and awareness for a drug and alcohol rehabilitation charity located in his neck of the woods. Rodney's family has been touched by alcohol and drug abuse and addiction. They've lost a loved one, his beloved sister Natalie, to the horrible disease of addiction. And Rodney wanted to take some of his survivor notoriety and fame and use it for a positive purpose. And having been an attendee at this event, I can say that not only was it a very fun time for everyone involved, fans and players, but it raised a tremendous amount of money, got a lot of people thinking about a very important issue. And it's something that I think will probably be a tradition going forward. Rodney, any plans to extend Rodney Bowl to have a second incarnation of it this year?
Right after we did it, the outcome, like you've seen the outcome, it was a home run. And I had big name, the CEO of Ace Tickets, Jimmy. He's seen what it was, and a lot of other people seen like this is. And I also contacted some other big name charities too to get involved in this. It's such a beautiful thing to bring together and do for a good cause. And I also want to bring in other causes because which touched me is after the Rodney Bowl, I went straight to Hot to Reality, which I'll touch on a little more. And I've seen the kids And Joaq, you got to come to that next year, man. That shit was crazy.
Man, listen, I'm getting all this traveling out of my system. I took the whole year off to travel. I'll be back in February, brother, and then I'm not leaving this summer. I missed the last 3 summers, honestly. I haven't celebrated my birthday with my friends and family. I'll be here all year, man. I'm all yours, brother. Let's get your ass to New York City, though. You know what I mean? Let's cause some trouble.
You already know I'm gonna be out there, kid. You already know, baby. I love this fucking kid. But yeah, no. So I was saying, yes, the Rodney Bowl is a huge success. I mean, we just it went from bowling, where you get to bowl at your favorite survivor, and then you go up and down and you get all the autographs. There's bowling pins that you get to customize and get autographed and get pictures with. And then we did a meet and greet. We got to take pictures with all of us, and it was our first one doing it, so we were having fun, getting crazy. Next year it's gonna be way more organized and all better. But the best part about the entire Rodney Bowl event, and Max, I guarantee you're gonna agree with me on this, was the Q&A that we had from 8 to 10 o'clock. What do you think about that?
The Q&A was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun for me, even as a guy who played Survivor, to hear some of my favorite survivors answer questions about what went on behind the scenes on their seasons. Rod?
Hello?
Oh, hey, did we lose you there, man?
Yeah, you lost me for a second. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you're saying how.
Just saying how, even as someone who'd played the game, I'm there geeking out, listening to some of my favorite players of all time talk about what it was like for them out there.
Oh, no, I know. And it was a mixture of the comedy and the fans, right, would come up and they'd have awesome questions too. So it was like the fans getting the satisfaction of that question that he's always wanted to ask, maybe on Twitter, on Instagram, he's been blasting or whatever. But he gets to ask these questions, and we let people go up once, twice, 3 times, so however want. But it just kept on flowing, and it kept on coming, and new people kept on coming up. And we just had it wasn't like one person was still on the stage. You had Malcolm answering questions, you had Dan, you had yourself, you had Tyler, you had Mike, and Mike's half of the rapper. Shit face by 8 o'clock. Everybody was feeling nice. And Bryce was answering questions. Everybody, and then we had Big Brothers there too. So we had Big Brother. Well, but next year's Rodney Bowl is going to be tenfold. I already got WWE wrestlers that are going to be coming. I made good friends with Nahat's Reality, Scotty Too Hardy. He's like one of my best boys now. He's actually coming out here to Lynn for one of his wrestling matches. So it's going to be a whole mash of all different types of people coming to the Rodney Bowl. We're trying to pick a day where all the athletes available, so maybe look out for some Patriots, some Red Sox players, and also I talked to a lot of Big Brother, Amazing Race, and some Jersey Shore people who are at the reality thing too. So I'm trying to make this thing as big as the House of Reality, but give it a little Boston swag to it,
So, Rodney, before we move on, where can people find out more information, or where can they learn about Rodney Bowl 2 when the information is announced? Follow you on Twitter for that?
Yeah. Keep in touch with the Twitter, Facebook, my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'll be pumping it like crazy, and just like how this year, how I had you highlighted, how I had every other person who was going to be coming. I'll have them all highlighted with their Survivor picture, with their Big Brother picture, and who will be arriving, so you'll know what your favorite Big Brother, Survivor, or whatever wrestler will be there. But yeah, look out for the big announcement on Twitter. I'll give Max a head up so he can pump it. I'll give Joaq a head up. I'll give all the people that I already know confirmed, and we're just gonna hype it hard, and it's gonna be a blast because we don't consider ourselves Johnny Depps. I don't consider myself Leonardo DiCaprio's. We are just average people who got on an ill show and got to display our personalities. So now come to the Rodney Bowl, get drunk with us, have fun with us, have a couple of drinks with us. Don't have any drinks with us. Just come and ask some questions. Go to bowl. You're just going to have a ball with anything you do because you're going to be around good people that you watch on TV that are just like you. Simple.
And Rodney Bowl really, I think, is, apart from being a great charity event and being fun for all the Survivor fans, it's a translation of the Dirty 30 ethos. Dirty 30 ethos, people sometimes are a little skeptical about what that whole Dirty 30. The Dirty 30 thing means one thing and one thing only. It means people taking an opportunity to have fun with one another. Right. For a good cause in many instances, whether it's Rodney's charity event for his sister Natalie, or it's Hearts of Reality, Give Kids the World, or if it's Cheer for Your Life, Missy Payne's charity out in Dallas for kids after school programs. But most of all, it's about people having fun together. People taking an excuse to take a weekend off, to fly to a city, and to just hang out and have fun. And listen, if that doesn't sit well with you, don't come. Don't follow us on Twitter. Don't check out our Instagram. But if you are down with having fun, Dirty 30 is where it's at.
Yeah, it really is. Every time we get together, honestly, anywhere, any place, you know, it's always a good time. Thousands of laughs, you know. I wish it could happen more often where, you know, we're in every city all over the world, so it's really hard, you know, people have jobs and families and we can't
most of us don't have jobs, I think.
But yeah, at this point, you know, I'm unemployed and traveling, but you know, we love each other so much regardless of what you guys see on TV. You know, Shireen, I love you, obviously. You know, I love every single one of you guys that were out there. I wouldn't have wanted to spend it with any other people, and it's just so amazing, this family of 400 plus that we have. You know, it's so funny. Like, I was talking to Josh last night, and you know, you can have these conversations with, you know, people on the outside, and you could talk to them till you're blue in the face and try and explain certain things, and you just, you know, they'll never understand, you know. But you turn to somebody like, not even in your season, like I was talking to Josh yesterday, never met him in my life, but connecting on every single level of every single part, and it's a beautiful thing, honestly.
It definitely is. Hey guys, I want you to know we've just received breaking news from Arizona.
Yeah.
Joseph Anglem has sent us a picture of his armpit. There is hair there, and he says there is definitely hair there. Trust me, it's there. We will post this picture, this evidence, this photographic evidence, but I want you to know you heard it here first. Joe does in fact have armpit hair. He is perfect in every way, including that he does have hair under his armpits. I know that a lot of people were thinking about that, and it was stressing out a lot of people, but rest assured, Joe is in fact fully foliated underneath his armpits. Okay, Rodney, let's go to some of the listener questions. I'm going to put them to both Rodney and Joaq. Most of them were asked initially for Joaq, but I want to hear Rodney's take on a lot of these questions as well. You got a minute, Rod?
Yeah, let's do it.
Hold on 1 second to pull this up. I got the picture of Joe's armpit in my face. It's a little distracting. I could auction that picture off on eBay probably.
I believe it.
Okay, here's a question that people want to know, and this is something that came up at the finale. Someone said, Joaq, did you give Rodney fashion tips for the reunion? People loved your suit at the reunion, Rod, but they also loved your hair. You had the slick back hair. You definitely were rocking a much more sophisticated look than people were associating you with. You're out on the island. You got your Boston t-shirt, your backwards hat, your Jordans. You come to the reunion dressed correct. Now, did you and Joaq at all talk about fashion or styling or anything like that? You guys go on a shopping trip or anything?
Nah, there was no shopping trip, but yeah, no, we were talking back and forth. You know, he would. Yeah, no,
he was like, we were talking about how fresh we were gonna be. He's like, yo, I might be wearing this. I'm like, yo, I might be wearing
because
this.
You know. You think about it, you have a whole year to prepare. So me and him are going back and forth, sending each other pictures. Yo, what do you think about this? How you think about that? Da, 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 da. You know, we okayed each other's outfits before we went out, you know, and yeah, we killed it. We both killed it, if I remember correctly.
I called up Joaq. I called up Joaq. I'm like, yo, I'm going to text you this shit right now. And I'm on the phone. I'm texting him. And then bang, he sees the blue suit. He's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, because I had the blue top navy, right? He had the royal. And I don't think we didn't pair it up and say, hey, you wear blue, I'll wear blue too. It was nothing like that. You know, he sent me a picture. I was like, let's rock and roll. He's like, yo, yours is crispy too. And before I knew it, it was, you know, we showed up there and killed it.
And not even that. Like if they look at the history, me and Joaq spent 3 years together and we're both dressed.
Yeah, we're out here. Yeah, we're good. You know.
See, that's the thing, Boston and New York, right? You'll catch me with a bean outfit or a Patriots snapback on and put my gold chains.
I wear a hoodie and sweatpants all day too, you know. But when it's time to get dressed up, we know what to do. You know, we know how to take care of business.
That's it. You got the fresh gym clothes, you got the fresh scrubs, your teams that you ride and die, and we over here in Boston with Die Hard with our sports, and all we do is put up banners. So you know, we represent that hard. But when it comes to going out, bro, it's we're gonna be shopping somewhere fancy. You know, maybe these Lake Express. Maybe we're going to Saks Fifth. Who knows what we're gonna
Yeah, a big shout out to the New York Mets, my man. They just advanced to see the Chicago Cubs. That's gonna be a beautiful thing.
Yes, congratulations to all the Mets and Cubs fans out there. I don't think I ever thought I would be saying those words.
I know.
If Theo Epstein, he did it for us.
That's your boy, Rodney. That's your boy, man.
If he can do it, with Chicago, they better. I want to see Bodman. I want to see Bodman back, and I want him to lift the trophy. I want him to lift the trophy.
Bartman and the GOAT, right?
Yeah, Bodman got to come back. He wants no part. I don't blame him. They tortured that poor bastard, but he got to come back.
All right, guys, another question that came up. This one came up from Lucia Hona on Survivor Reddit. Would Joaquin and Rodney be interested in competing on The Amazing Race together?
In a heartbeat, I will drop anything all to do it, especially my boy Rodney. That would be the biggest comedy spiel you've ever seen ever on TV, because when me and him are together, it is nonstop. Rodney, let him know.
Make the pitch to Lynn Spillman. Tell Lynn Spillman now, because she, of course, casts both shows. You've got your 30-second elevator pitch. Why, Rodney, should you and Joaquin be on The Amazing Race?
Right, I'm going to let you take care of this one. I'm going to let you take care of this one. Go. Hit him with it.
Listen, it comes down to this. You got two of the realest motherfuckers who stepped forward onto a show called
Too real.
We never did 1 ounce of camping in our life. Came out there, right, knowing nothing, and we did damage. We made a name for ourselves. Like, if you see the relationship in those 3 days and the comedy that was going to be set up if we lasted longer, you got robbed of the funny shit, like the shit with Mike.
So robbed.
About Mike. Remember when we were talking about Mike?
Mike? Who's Mike? Mike is Mike on the line actually?
But no, listen, honestly, we spoke to the editors, on our finale, and they said like the shit that wasn't aired with me and Rodney was priceless. The things that we will never ever see, that go into that vault that nobody will ever see, they said was so good for TV. So you know what? Give us a shot to literally, take it down and
bro down. It's just
a bro down. Like, take it down. No, it's the bro down.
If you want to see a bro down, you want to see love. You want to. Like me and Walk, we're both very smart, but we're like dumb smart fucks. You know what I mean? We're dumb smart fucks. We're gonna do dumb shit, but like we're street smart, and I'll still get up on. Like the reason why I made it deep is because you guys probably thought it was a dumb meathead, but I outwitted a fucking lot of motherfuckers, so I'm not that dumb. So you can look at us as two dumb bastards, but like we'll get this shit done, and we'll make it so you guys are dying laughing, and you'll have punchlines, and you'll have hashtags. So, in my season, hashtag Rodney time. Hashtag Tom Brady. Like we're gonna give you entertainment regardless. Put us in a house. They need to put me and this kid in the house and party like they do on the other shows, the VH1, MTV. You get us partying out how we did out in Vegas, forget about it.
So, I heard Mike Holloway is a big Amazing Race fan. He probably would have a really compelling endorsement if you're
Mikey boy. Come on,
Mike. What do you think? Would Rodney and Joaquin be good on the show? Mike? Rodney, we want you to do the Mike impression.
I think that would be great for Amazing Race, but I think me and my boy Hyrod should do it. I mean, we battled. We battled 39 days, I think. It was just me and him battling. So what better way to pitch to Lynn Spillman and maybe with Douglas Spillman and if they were done, maybe we should be on Amazing Race.
Whoa. That was amazing. Always amazing.
That's the two-tone mic.
Mike with his two. Mike's got two voices.
Nah, he does have two voices.
Mike's got two voices. He got the like, let's talk strategy. You know what I mean?
And then sometimes you'll be out there and they'll switch it up completely, and you'll be like, "Is this motherfucker joking?" Like,
I do.
Oh man,
I'm riding with you, dude. I love that motherfucker, man. We made it out of blast this summer, because I had just for a while. I had a lot of like, I want to kill this dude, like I had that I want to kill him mentality for a long time, for sending me to a fire making challenge day 38, because you lied to me and said, you know what, we're gonna have a boys buffet the next day, and then you know, the fair in his eyes, he sends me to a fire maker challenge versus Mama C, where he has to teach her how to make some fire. Yeah, Mike. Teaching Mama C, huh? A little bitch. I'm pulling up that Jeff Bonner, you little bitch. Teaching how to do fire and shit. And, you know, my ending is a tough pill to swallow getting that close. But after that, man, he came up to Boston, came out to the Rodney Bowl. We showed so much love. And outside of the game, it's just, you're two big personalities that will battle each other. That in the game, it's like, bro, I can't stand you. You can't stand me. We're going to put a smile on our faces, and we're just going to battle to see what happens. And I just, the one regret me and him always talk about is like, if we got down to a Final 3 with us, it would have been the most epic final tribal council ever. Let me tell you. Because the first thing I was going to open up with was just asking you a question about, so Rodney or Joe or whatever, they asked me, so why do you deserve $1 million, whatever? I would be like, I mean, and I would have came out with American First. Right? Now we had everybody on that fucking panel fucking dying. The whole jury would have been crying, laughing. I would do impersonations of Dr. Ben, had everybody dying. Dude, that's what people didn't see behind the scenes, man. The comedy in Survivor, if you want to play this game, you gotta have personality, man. Like, you got to have personality. People, what they don't show is, like, they show the challenge, they show the strategy who they're going to get voted out, and they show tribal council, but what they don't show you is 72 hours of bullshit and downtime.
Rodney, how epic would it be if they could just release like 15-minute bloopers of each person on like their one-on-ones with the producers? How epic would that be?
I've been saying this since the season ended. I'm like, they need to do Survivor and put it on like HBO. And just do
Survivor After Dark,
yeah,
like Big Brother, the uncensored,
yeah. All the swears, all the shit talk,
all the talk about the carnival,
Comedy Central, fucking roast. You know what I mean? Like, roasting everybody, ration, all that shit. And all you Twitter trolls can talk all this shit and call us misogynist and all this whatever you're not. You know what I mean? Say whatever you got to say, but we're going to give you some funny fucking gold.
Rodney, who out there right now do you see who's adding that comedy at camp? I mean, obviously we don't see everything, but who do you think, you know, is bringing that Rodney element to the game where they're keeping their tribe laughing and as a result working their way into deeper relationships with their fellow tribe members?
Well, I was seeing that with Jeff, to be honest with you. I mean, like you guys, I heard you talking earlier about how it was like the Jeff show. You know what I mean? He's that funny, like he's that funny Hicks. You know, that friggin' the one who's just like, he got that attitude and that funny way about him. Where you're like, yeah, yo, I fuck with this dude. He's fucking. I like people from down south because they're just a bit different and they got the different attitude. So like. Usually you click with certain people like that because Will was actually from, they think he's related to LA, but he's from North Carolina. So, yeah. So like just their personality. They're like, how you doing? I'm related. I'm down there in North Carolina. We get our little Caesar's pizzas out there in North Carolina. We just love our family. You know, we just our rent's about like $400 a week, and we just surviving out here, just living our family. You know, so that's the attitude. Like, North Carolina is all about love, all about being grateful for life and all that shit. And I think he killed it. And the editing for Survivor on that last episode was phenomenal. They had you on your feet. You didn't know who was going home because he made solid pitches. He made solid pitches to everybody.
Yeah.
It's just when the bad thing about travel is when you have a battle, right, and it's just two people going at it. It makes it obvious of which one's going home, and you never want to open up. You get caught up in your emotions, but you never want to like battle with one certain person, like and fight back and forth. Unless if you know it's really solid, you kind of want to spread the hate. But that should seem like it was a one-on-one battle, Wu or him, and it just happened to be him to go instead of maybe having other people slip up with some other questions. You know what I mean? Nobody slipped up. It was just them talking. How do you feel about the
decision, Max?
How do I feel about the decision to vote Farner out? Well, as a fan and viewer, I'm very disappointed.
As a player,
I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean,
which is very surprising that Abi-Maria put her emotions aside.
Yeah, it's shocking to see someone like Abby make a rational decision, But at the same time, it's also an emotional decision because Tasha has clearly made a strong emotional appeal to Abby. You know, you hear some of Varner's exit interviews where he talks about
if
Tasha.
you mess with me, you're dead.
Oh my God, Abby.
Yeah, I think she just came. I think yeah. Did she just tune in? I think.
Let me hear that again because I think I might have talked over you.
No, that was not. I thought you. Oh, you're in New York. I thought you were in LA.
No. I'm not in LA.
Max is sitting in my living room right now, champ.
Oh my God! If I hear that, I swear to God, I get a little stressed out. I have to be honest.
If you mess with me, you're dead.
You're dead. Is that your? Oh no, you did the C. I was going to say, is that your first female impersonation? Hey guys, let me ask you a few more questions. Second chance. Rodney, Joaquin, first of all, do you want a second chance? Second of all, what are you going to do differently when you get it? I'll let
Walk go first.
Do I want a second chance? Like I said to you yesterday, Max, you know, I'd empty out my bank account and let them keep the million, even if I won, if they let me come back on. Of course, I feel like all 440 contestants that have been thrown out there to starve to death, you know, no shelter, no water, would jump at the chance to do this. It's an epic. You know, forget about the publicity, forget about the money. You know, you can't pay for a chance like this. You can't. It's just impossible. You know, from the challenges to the psychological breakdown to the relationships that you build. It's amazing. Yeah, I would do this in a heartbeat. Shit, if they called me, even if they call me like 3 weeks from now, if they call me tomorrow, I'm there 100%.
Do you not worry though at all that the second time could be the time where it's not about the adventure, it's not about the relationships, that it's cutthroat, that it's harmful, that it's breaking relationships, that it's backstabbing people that you might like in real life and have a strong bot. You know, you and Rodney go back out there on a second chance season and you got to vote Rodney out. That's your boy. Like, can you do that? Are you ready to do that?
You know, at the end of the day, you know, I'm ready to do
that.
Well,
before you talk, first of all, we're not going to get into any of that, all right? Because if it does happen, we ain't talking about what our strategy in the future will be. We're talking about what happened in World of Thought, and we're talking, because I don't talk strategy. You know what I mean? Because I want people to continue to think I'm a dumbass, and we'll let me and Walk think that we're just two dumb bro meatheads. That's it.
Yeah,
we're just two dumb bro meatheads.
They saw this, Rodney. It's too late. They saw the show. They saw how far you got. Nobody's going to fall for that again. You go out there this time, you better have a new strategy because, hey, I'm just some furniture mover from Boston.
Yeah, that's not gonna work.
They saw what you did. They saw you move the human chess pieces, and they saw you almost go all the way. So we talked a lot about this earlier. What do you do different this time, Rod?
I would sure do a lot of things differently.
I want to hear what you guys would have, what you would change this time.
You know, you got to understand, I never watched the show. I'm only a season and a half in, or season and a quarter in, and I already know thousands of things that I didn't know of how to work people and how this show actually was run. And I'm sure, Rodney, you too, right? I mean, you got to see our season. That was our first season. Now you're watching this one. And so we already have so much more knowledge already just to begin with.
Absolutely. Well, plus I had a lot more time. I had a lot more time than anybody to get ready because the way I was casted was just like his story with Tinder. My shit was up there pretty damn crazy as well. I was in a crazy situation how I got casted. So, you know, I kind of, you know, I got sort of prepared with watching some YouTube videos and getting ready right before the show. But I was supposed to be on with my father for season 29. That's how that was supposed to go down. And I met Caitlin Moore. Shout out to Caitlin Moore. I always shout her out because she's the reason why I got on. And I always shoot back to who fucking take care of me. It's my boo. I met her in Boston. I was getting shit-faced by Fenway Park. And they were doing a casting call for the hero, for The Rock, the wrestler. And I grew up, you know, Stone Cold Stunners and Rock Bottoms, baby. And then I go back and forth to my couch, take off the fucking fake people's elbow and lay it down. You know, to one of my boys. And then he's like, "Oh, Rod, you're killing me." Jump off the top of the couch, you know, laying down wrestling moves. So I was like, this is like my hero. The Rock's right down the street. So The Rock didn't end up being there, but Caitlin ended up being there. And they were doing a casting call for the hero. And we stayed at the round table with so many people. and I was kind of feeling nice. A couple of drinks in me, just like how you guys said, get drinks, get loose, be you. And I said something about, family and stuff like that. And then it ended up calling me. She's like, I want to do an interview with you at the W Hotel in Boston. Ended up doing this interview. It was supposed to be for an hour. We were there for like 3 hours, just knocking around stuff the whole time. She's like, listen, Rodney, you'll be awesome for this show on TNT, The Hero. It's in its first season. Who knows? It could be great. She goes, but I have the best reality show of all time, and I work with Mark Brunette full time, and I'd love you for Survivor. She's like, you know what Survivor is? I'm like, Survivor, isn't that shit when you're in the jungle and shit? Like, somebody's like, go home and watch Survivor. I'm like, all right, let me go. So I go home, I watch some YouTube videos on Survivor, and I'm like, competition? I'm like, that's what I've been doing my whole life, man. Stud football player, always been an athlete, and I'm like, listen, I want to compete again. Let's do it. Fucking sign me up. End up LAX with my father. And then the story's long from there, so we'll talk about it some other time. But yeah, my story was crazy on how I got on too.
Yeah, Rodney, we're going to give you your own full episode of all the Fixins, and it might even be a 2-parter because you got a lot of stories to tell. But
yeah, I got a lot of shit.
What do you do different this time, Rod? You go out there. I've said on record, and I don't want to blow up your game, but I said on record that Rodney comes back in 3 or 4 years and wins. That Rodney comes back with a little time, a little life experience, maybe. No. I think he comes back. This is I envision Rodney coming back, and he's got this story like, I got a wife now, I got a kid, or something like, and maybe you don't even, you just tell everyone you do. You like make some fake Instagram, you get a nephew or something like that, and you come in there with this angle like, I'm a changed man. You saw me before when I was popping bottles and running around with Joaquin. Now I'm like, I got to do this for my kid. I got to do this for my wife. I got to do this for my family. And you go out there and like Boston Rob or Boston Rod, you run the table. Now that's a different Rodney. That's a Rodney that's playing with the same mindset, but maybe is portraying something different to his fellow cast members. He's not saying I'm a furniture mover. He's saying I'm a family man. He's not saying I'm a party boy. He's saying I raise money for charity. But what do you think? What do you do to change up, to overcome the perception that now exists amongst former players that you are a guy who tricked everyone? You had everyone fooled. What do you do this time now? What do you do once you've used that card? You can't use it again. What do you do this time, Rodney?
I don't know. It all depends on who, what, and who is going to be in front of me. Who am I working with? Who do I see? Because what I see in this season, right, which is, it's cool and all, but too much of people from the same season. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You only had 2 worlds apart, and then you had 4 Caramoan. It was a 3 San Juan del Sur, right?
Yeah.
I'd like to see one where it's one from each from a different season. So there's 0 connection, no Twitter, no pre-alliances, no none of that speculation. Pick Joaquin from Worlds Apart. Pick somebody from San Juan del Sur. Pick someone from Cagayan, and pick someone from Heroes vs. Villains. Pick somebody from China. That would make more sense. So now you can get to the basis of like, all right, there was no pre-game alliances, there was no nothing. You can start fresh. Because that would really determine how much talent you really do have. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, it's a totally different thing here now where people are drawing on years worth of relationships. They're drawing on spending time together with people outside. This is the first time where we actually can point to where the game took place off the island. Not that it didn't in the past, but this season it's right out in the open for everyone to see.
But we got this whole thing too with this dirty 30, right? So what if we're lined up with a bunch of us dirty 30? I mean, that's kind of cheap for other people in there. Let's say if they had 4 people from Worlds Apart, and it was me, you, Joaquin, and let's say
Caroline.
Caroline, just us 4.
Caroline.
Yeah, I call her Carol.
No, I love that idea. I've actually talked about that idea, Rod, with people, battle of the seasons, where you get like 5 people from 4 tribes or 5 people from 4 seasons. Right. And you've got a dirty 30 versus, 5 people from Samoa versus 5 people from China versus 5 people from Vanuatu or something like that.
See, the problem is with social media nowadays that, we're all connected, like Shireen
We
said,
are.
Yeah.
so too, like, everybody's connected, and the longer we're, still around, the longer, like yesterday I met 5 new people from two or three different seasons, it's like, and it's just going to get more and more. And it's only a year since I've been done playing, but every year I'm going to meet more people. I'm going to build more relationships. So it's going to get even harder for CBS to say, all right, let's try and put one person from each season that really is not connected to anybody. It's it's going to be kind of.
Yeah, there's going to be connections all across the board, but the best thing that you can kind of do is, instead of like having the fans vote, making like this big poll and shit, is just get them there. You know what I mean? Just get them there. Don't do this like whole party like, oh, this is who you can choose from. Just whoever is selected. Don't let anybody find out, and let's just start the game with those people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't have them run up on stage and get all excited and stuff. Do it behind the scenes and like they did before with All Stars, and just do that again. I think people want a heroes versus villains soon. I heard there was a couple rumors of that. They were thinking about doing that again soon. I think that's overdue. That'd be a good season.
Okay, guys, I want a few questions from Twitter. Hold on a sec. I'm going to look at some of these questions. Here's one that I think will touch, will hit close to home for both you guys. This is from Spicy Wasabi. Should Tasha and Savage just intentionally throw the next 2 challenges to get rid of the other people from original to KO and to get into some sort of merge or something like that? Now, you guys are the victims of a throne challenge. What do you think about the idea of Tasha and Savage throwing a challenge to get rid of Wu, maybe get rid of Abby, get back to a merge and say to their former Bayonne tribe members, guys, we did it. We took out KO.
No, I think it's too risky. It's too risky, right, Rodney? Yeah. To throw 2 challenges back to back.
Well, this is what happened was we successfully did it, right? And then they flipped it and voted out Joaq instead of Joe because they were scared of what me and Joaq had. But if it didn't go down that way, then it would have been a lot. I feel like it would have been a lot better. But I agree with Joaq. It didn't go down that way, so it definitely is too risky because you never know what somebody's mindset's gonna be. You know what I mean? Like, you could do that and have one intention of why y'all making that move and y'all throwing it, and they could have, even though you're talking and you're close and you think you're buddy, but they could have a different reason of who they're trying to get on the other side.
Yeah,
you know
don't forget Abi-Maria is on the tribe too. You never know. She's very erratic, and like they say in every episode, she's yes one day, no the other. I'm not too sure the next. So I think it's a huge risk to take, especially, especially they asked for 2 throwing challenge. I don't think it's the right move. I doubt it's going to happen. Nah.
All right. I got another question for you guys about this season. This is from Mitch Guerra. Mitch, big fan.
Oh, big shout out to Mitch, actually.
Mitch,
big shout out
big
to
supporter.
Mitch, actually. Yeah,
he wants to know who do you guys, Rodney and Joaquin, want to see more of from this season who's out there right now?
Me personally, I actually want to see Steve. I want to see
Fishback?
Yeah. Like I said to you yesterday, I feel terrible for the edit that he's getting, looking like he's like this nerd that has no idea what's going on and everybody hates him. I hate to see that on TV. I feel like he's getting bullied, and in this day and age, bullying is a big thing. Awareness of bullying, and I'd like to see him, get a little bit more involved. But we'll see. What about you, Rodney? Who do you want to see more of? Your boy from Boston?
And we're seeing a lot of him already.
I can't just keep on riding Jeremy.
Yeah. Who else? Who else do you like, or who else do you maybe think they've got more potential?
I'd actually like to see Spencer. Spencer do work his magic too. As well. I haven't seen anything really.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, because when I play the game, right, my number one thing at any challenges is all about the numbers, right? So when you look around, and like I just mentioned about the powerhouse of Kagian, that's where I see numbers. You got Wu still in there. You still got Tosh. You still got Cass. You still got Spencer. That's 4. You know what I mean? However you boil up, if they can get together at some point, sometime, you know that like how we are, they could be secretly dirty like us, because you know if that happened with us and we're out there, that's probably going to happen too. If it's like me, Jen, Joaq, and randomly, let's say Haley or something like that, we probably, if we got to a spot where we felt comfortable and, you know, we were rocking with each other from the beginning, we're going to ride with each other. So when you have that past survivor love that could take you, you know, over the top with the experience they have, like, because people they go to weddings together after the shit. They go to Rodney Bowls, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They go out and they live. So when you're in that game, that emotion rides with you. Just like if I was to play the game or Joaq again, like, you know.
Yeah, we wouldn't even have to say anything to each other. You know, it's just that look. You know, you just look at them from the other side. Even if we are competing, you know, we shake our head. You know, we understand.
Like a blood versus water. Instead of a married couple, they just have you guys.
Right.
So hey guys, you know, we've been ongoing now for almost 2.5 hours. Rodney, I want to involve you in one or two more quick things before we say goodnight. First is I want to hear from you guys a story from your trip to Vegas, because after the finale, Rodney,
oh boy,
Joaquin,
oh boy,
some of Rodney's friends, some of Joaquin's friends, and Haley and Jen all took a trip from Los Angeles to Las Vegas.
Shout out to Haley and Jen. We didn't even see him, right, Rodney? If I remember correctly.
Yeah,
you guys were too busy hanging with Dan Bilzerian to be hanging with
that
them.
is. We were hanging out with. Shout out to Danny B for hosting us that day. It was yeah. Listen, the guy's a stand-up guy. You would never think, you know, millionaire, throwing around money, bottles, women, you know. But shout out to Danny B. It was.
I would think that you guys would get along.
No, yeah, we did. But you know, people don't really like. You know, they don't like when you just invade. You know, you come in. But no, he opened arms and everything. Right, we were just hanging out, and yeah, big shout out to Danny B.
So Rod, share a story.
Joaquin got his the Danny B, right, and I got my perfect. We get a VIP table at Encore Beach Club. We look up, and who is it? It's the fucking Super Bowl champion Patriots.
Right, they won.
They won the Super Bowl, right? And I come so close to winning my Survivor Super Bowl, but didn't, so I'm kind of drowning in my sorrows a little bit. And I get to see my boy Chan Jones, who else up there? Patrick Chung, Aaron Dobson, and I brought up, you know, Joaquin's girls, our girlfriends, our clique, our homegirls. They're the shit.
Shout out to Lorraine.
They're like dudes. They're like our riders. They go down. They come up into the VIP, and you know they're all like, "Oh shit, he's bringing them all the girls up here." And then we're popping bottles. Like I got Chan Jones on my Snapchat, lit on my Snapchat, like ripping shots, and like I see Joaq looking at me like, yo, this fucking kid's having a ball. I got my Patriots.
Yo, I'm so glad because you're right. First time to Vegas, you know, so I'm taking him out to Vegas, and you know, first party, boom, go hang out with the Patriots. Like, what kind of shit is that? You can't pay for that. You're like,
it's like a Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Amazing, right, Rodney? Like,
for a kid who's
you can't paint a different picture.
Exactly. It's for all you guys out there, your favorite ball player, your favorite actor, your favorite whatever, and you show up to somewhere and they're like open arms, ready to hang out with you. I mean, like, it doesn't get any better than that. That's what happens when you come out with Joaquin and Rodney.
And you know, one thing that I've loved watching is how the Boston community has rallied around Rodney, how Rodney got just so much positivity from his local area, from radio shows to the media.
Oh yeah, I was like, yo. The worst was like the funniest shit. I'm chilling. All of a sudden, my cousin, he's looking big, Italian kid. He's like, yo, he's like, cuz, he's like, you turning on TV, dude? I'm like, what? He's like, kid, you on fucking Conan O'Brien, bro? I was like, what? He's like, yeah, Conan's talking about you with Nick Crow. Turn on the station. I'm on fucking Conan O'Brien, and they're talking about the segment of how I was talking about my mother.
Epic shit only.
Bobby Bottle Service.
Yeah, I mean, listen, and at this point, I barely know you, Rod, but I just know you from the little I've, you know, from Dirty 30 gatherings, from seeing you out there. It's just like to see a friend of yours or a person who you friend of a friend, someone who you're acquainted with, and to see the world just fall in love with that person. It was a great experience just to watch that happen, to watch people come around to this Rodney kid. I definitely it warmed the heart. Joaquin, was it fun for you watching?
Of course, man. It's my boy up there, you know, and he was getting so much heat by the time I was getting taken out. And towards the end, it was like everybody was rallying around him. Shit, felt like America wanted him to win. You know, it's an awesome thing, especially when the people around you are winning. I mean, like, come on, that's all you could ask for.
All right, Rodney, we got one last segment I want to involve you in before we say goodnight, and then Joaq and I are going to wrap up a minute after that. And that is a segment that we call, on ATF, we call Your Mother's a Whore.
Your mother is a whore.
Sir.
Your mother's a whore?
A fucking whore, Rodney.
My mother's not a fucking whore.
Okay, so Rodney, what we've obviously you know you weren't able to hear the sound effect there, Rod. But what we do is every week we play Dan Foley's famous line from Survivor Worlds Apart, and we talk about the moment from this week's past episode that one of the Survivor castaways is going to regret for the rest of his or her life, much like Dan will take to his grave the regret over mentioning your mother's name on national television. There's going to be someone this week who looks back at something that they did on this episode and says, fuck, I fucked up. So first of all, can you give us, if Dan were here, what might Dan say in response to finding out that we've named a segment after him?
You know,
he's not going to be
back
too
here in
happy.
Maine eating these lobsters. I have to say everybody's well in their own place. I mean, what I said wasn't really that bad. So
I never said it.
And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
It never happened, Jeff. I don't know what you're talking about. Poor guy. Oh, man. That fucking ate him up for a long time.
Joaq, let's start with you. What thing from this episode is somebody going to regret for the rest of their life?
I really don't know. I really don't, honestly.
I lost my mind.
Tell you the truth, I really can't think of anything right now at the moment.
Yeah. This episode, I don't really think of anything that's going to be like, oh,
this really wasn't.
It's not like.
What about you, Max? I don't think there's anything that was like, oh my god, you know, nah.
Yeah, there wasn't. The one that was funny with Jeff Fano when he said,
"Yep,
you little bitch," right? That was awesome.
Yeah.
But that ain't something you need something. That ain't something you regret. That's classic. That's awesome.
That's some classic shit. Yeah, a kiss and a hug and you little bitch to Abby. That's fucking perfect. But no, I don't remember.
But some Twitter troll will be like, "You called Abby a little bitch. I'm gonna kill you. I hope your mother dies. Don't talk about the Brazilian queen like that."
Okay, I got something that I think somebody's going to regret.
Let's see what's
I think Tasha is going to regret playing with Abby. I think Tasha is going to regret, even though it got her through 2 votes, I think like everyone we've seen so far who's tried to play with Abby, first it was Shireen, then it was Peih-Gee, then it was Varner. It blows up in your face.
Who do you think's at the bottom of that track?
Yeah, but do you think everybody wants to play with Abby because they take it to the end? They're gonna win.
Yeah,
is that what you think?
I think so. I think
it's at the bottom of that tribe right now.
Right now,
yeah. Woo.
I think Woo is at the bottom of that tribe, but I think that Tasha will.
So now
it will blow up in Tasha's face, and I think Tasha will regret not entertaining playing with Varner, a guy who, while he's crafty, he's sneaky, he's smart, he's rational.
Right.
And Abby might be easier to interpret and read, but she does not play rationally. So I think this week's Tasha, your mother is a whore. You will regret putting your fate in the hands of the Brazilian dragon.
The dragon.
Anybody else? Nothing you guys can think of that anyone will regret? Maybe, for example, Savage might regret.
I'm just telling you that Cagayan, they're on the lookout. You're gonna throughout the season, you're gonna see Cagayan pulling some strings, making some serious moves. That's all I'm telling you.
So keep an eye on Cagayan. That's what you're
Because
saying.
no, guys, what did Rodney always say? Rodney's always riding with the numbers, baby.
Riding with the numbers.
They ride with numbers. That's what this game's about, baby. It's about X's and O's. It's like a Bill Belichick, man. Map it out. Do what you can to win by any means necessary.
All right, Rodney, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to wrap up now. Joaq and I are just going to have some final words. But, dude, this was a pleasure. It was so great to have you join us unexpectedly. We are going to do a full Rodney episode. We'll have Joaquin on the phone to add color commentary. But
let's do it. Yo, Rodney, my man.
I need an excuse to fly out to Boston and spend a night with you, Rod. And we got to do this. We got to go out to Chinese food. We got to go bowling. We got to go to the carnival. And we got to just sit down and break down this season and break down your season, our season as well. What do you say?
Hell yeah. Absolutely, yeah. We can hook up with bras at the carnival. We can go to any game. Yeah, we can do whatever you want to do, brother.
And when Rodney Bowl comes around, we will definitely have a show devoted to Rodney Bowl 2016.
Actually, because we're gonna have a live section where I think we didn't even talk about it yet, but let's talk about it now. We all the Fixins. I think we're going to do it live.
We will be doing it live.
We're going to be doing it live.
That'll be some epic shit.
Do it live. Man. We're going to have Joaquin there. Dirty 30.
We'll do it live.
We'll have a lot of Cambodia there. We will have some of the folks from maybe from the next season as well. Rodney, we are going to make Rodney Bowl 2016 the #1 Survivor and reality TV charity event of all time. And that is because we believe in the event. We believe in you, brother, and it's great to have you here. Rodney, thank you so much. Rodney, give us your Twitter handle so that people can follow you if they're not already.
We got Rodney Lavooie Jr. This is my Instagram. My Twitter is the same. Actually, I think it's what the fuck is my Twitter? I don't even know.
Your Twitter is Rodney _ Boston.
At Rodney _ Boston. And at Rodney _ Boston.
So make sure you follow Rodney for news about Rodney Bowl and just to keep up with what's going on.
Snapchat. My Snapchats be crazy too. Rodney _ Boston. It gets a little rated R though.
Gets a little X-rated sometimes, you dig?
Yeah. Just like Survivor After Dark will be.
But that's why they got private Snapchat. So only the homies can know what really goes down. I give you guys.
I don't think I follow you, Rod. I think I gotta hook you up.
Yeah,
I gotta follow this.
You gotta step your game up, bro. You're missing out on that.
Listen, I was watching what was going on at Rodney Bowl late at night. I want to see the footage. So, dude, thank you so much for joining us, Rodney. Be good, take care, stay safe, stay out of trouble most of all, and we will see you soon, brother.
Absolutely, man. We'll be linking soon.
Definitely.
Yo, Rodney, my man, you take care of yourself. I'll give you a call tomorrow. We'll shoot the shit, figure it out. I'm gonna come to Boston before I take this ride out to South America for a couple of months. So we got to figure out.
Hey, whether it's Boston, whether it's New York.
Nah, good trip. I owe you two. I'm definitely coming up. When you stay up there, sit tight.
For real. Well, call me tomorrow and get your ass over here, kid.
All right, sounds good, brother. Take care, man, and I'll see you soon. I miss you, bro.
I love you, bro. Bass Bros for life.
Love you, man. Forever and ever.
Good night, Rod.
Later, champ.
All right, Joaq, one last thing that I want to do before we end, and this is a record-setting podcast. We are getting close to 3 hours.
I fucking love
and maybe we just keep this going until we pass out. I mean, listen, at this point, I don't even know if anybody's still listening. 37 viewers. I mean, if you are still watching,
shout out to all you guys. Thank you for
definitely
watching.
Mitch. I know Mitch is still out there. Mitch just responded.
Yeah, he's like, you know that one fan that you have that like. No matter what you respond to.
Mitch is that guy.
My guy. Yeah,
Mitch is a good guy. I know we got people on Reddit. I know we've got folks who are probably commenting on the YouTube page. I haven't even been checking to see if there are any comments on the YouTube page. But I just wanted to ask you one last thing before we broke out. And that's, we spent 3 weeks together in Costa Rica last August.
Yeah, for sure.
We did a lot. Willie Galt, thank you so much Somebody just reminded me. We got comments on the YouTube page. We couldn't remember Willie Galt. Why didn't I align for lots of questions? But I want to know a story that the people should hear about our time in Costa Rica.
Oh my Jesus. 3 weeks, right?
3 weeks.
I don't know what
and this thing about this lineup, this is Joaquin Souberbielle. This is Lindsay Cascadon. This is Kelly Machine Gun Kelly.
I know.
This is So Kim. This is Nina Persh. This is Max Dawson. And this is the one, the only, Vinny Hollywood. Vinny Hollywood. And for those of you who don't know, Vincent Sly, the coconut guy, had a period of his life that he spent in Hollywood as a party promoter, during which he was known on the scene
only as
Vinny Hollywood. Vinny Hollywood has stories about throwing certain sort of A-list celebrities out of parties,
sex parties.
He was in the mix. He had a story about being the star of a Bollywood movie.
I remember that.
He was a professional snowboarder. He had stories about.
He was a Dolce & Gabbana model. I mean, if you think me and Rodney have stories, you have no idea what's in this bag of tricks, Vinny Hollywood. Honestly, no. Hey, listen, you had your own room, right? I boarded up with Vinny Hollywood. I
had my own room because I had explosive diarrhea during that trip, and nobody wanted. And believe me, that was the best.
And you actually almost missed the trip, if I remember correctly. You actually almost never came because it's just you couldn't leave.
I was angling. I was begging production to send me home, send me to a hospital, and they were like, "You don't want to do that, Max. If you do that, it would be bad. That would not be good."
Right.
That, I mean, and I think I told you the day after I came out, they came to me and said, "We want you to play again." I don't know if they just say that to everybody as a way, or they say it to people.
They say it to me.
Well, they said it to me, but it just it ended up being more. It was like at first it was like, "That's great, that's great," and then it ended up being, "They're fucking using this to keep me here, motherfucker. I just want to go to a hospital."
Ding, ding, of course.
Yeah,
they know how to play.
They know how to play all of us. And they knew for me
30 seasons of us playing with other people's minds. You know, they have this already written. Like I said, it's amazing how the production and everything from start to finish, they literally have everything calculated. You know, you can vouch from the second we got there to the second we left. Everything was so precise and so strategic that I thought it was amazing. I couldn't believe how they had everything, perfectly aligned.
So just tell us a story from Costa Rica. Is there a story that stands out?
Stories. Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, what about the day I got pissed drunk while we were on the catamaran? And I think I was the only one that was pissed. Oh no, me and Machine Gun Kelly.
You and Kelly Remington. Now this is something that most people would never know from watching. Kelly Remington on their show seemed very unassuming, quiet, sort of keep her head down.
That is a lie.
What was the Kelly Remington you knew?
The Kelly Remington I knew. She's a fucking badass. I literally nicknamed her Machine Gun Kelly because she was literally up for anything at any time. I had Lindsay for the first 3 days, drinking every single time and partying with me hard, and then she went on her yoga retreat. That's it. Turned sober, would not eat anything. She was gone vegetarian, gone sober.
Well, listen, in Lindsay's defense, Lindsay put on a display of gluttony and self-abuse at a level at Ponderosa, at a level that I had never seen.
And I only got to see it for 3 days. You got to see it.
I got 2 more days than you, because I was 2 days out of the game before Joaq came back. Lindsay had ballooned up to about 275 pounds, it looked like. She was eating 11 times a day.
Yeah, I remember. Oh my God, I used to wake up and it was.
She would have me on her third breakfast.
Everything, I know.
Drinking and eating everything in sight.
And they let you just indulge and overindulge.
I remember at one point Vince had a bag of Fritos and he was scooping Nutella into it. And he was just eating Fritos coated in Nutella.
I know. And I mean, this is Vince. Tried it too. Honestly.
This is a guy who primarily eats sprouted wheat germ and spirulina and in organic hemp seeds mashed with acai berries. And he's eating Fritos coated in Nutella. So you and Machine Gun Kelly,
Jesus Christ.
You and Machine Gun Kelly, I definitely remember you guys getting up to a lot of like the cooking class.
Yeah,
they showed us how to make a mojito.
Oh my Lord.
Before the first course even came, you and Kelly had like 11 mojitos.
Yeah, you know what it was? Me and her, we had the most laughs together. We were just pissed drunk, and I when we would get drunk, we would literally forget about all of you guys. It was like, fuck you fucking sober people, and we would literally go off on our own. And I have some pictures with Kelly that I'll upload to the Twitter now that I'm speaking about it, that literally flippers on a catamaran, pissed drunk, laughing, crying. You know, there was so many good stories. I had so many good stories with still my best friend. Still talk to her literally every morning on her commute to work and home from work. I'll get a phone call to talk to her for the hour and a half from that terrible LA traffic. Yeah, amazing. You know, I'm afraid of heights for people that don't know.
Oh, yeah. So we went on the zip lining. We went on one of the
highest, tallest
world's most foremost zip lining courses in Costa Rica above the rainforest canopy.
Terribly scary.
But you took to it, dude. You did very well.
I did.
We had a beautiful day where we hiked down to a waterfall, and we didn't have our bathing suits, so I decided to disrobe. Went in naked.
We went in naked.
The park ranger came out and screamed at me, made me.
Oh my God, I remember
that.
Yeah.
There are some photos that are circulating around of me bare ass naked.
I definitely have some.
No one can really understand what it's like to be on that pre-jury trip. It's a little bit like being on a vacation with crazy people, and it's also like a little bit like being in a white collar prison. And
it's all, you know, it's expenses paid, so you know, it's just
never before in my life have I ever complained about having to drink tropical cocktails and get massages every day, but at a certain point you're just
you want to go home.
You want to go home.
I know, it's sick because now that I think about it, Max, I would do anything to go back there for another 3 weeks.
Let's go to
and not have
right now. I'd pay $10,000 to go to Arenal and just sit in that goddamn hotel.
That was the worst part of our whole fucking
trip. The worst part of the trip.
Oh, we had to sit in a resort for 5 days and stare at a volcano. Like, literally, what do we do while we were there? Nothing. That's when we started really going to the gym.
Talk about the gym. I mean, we got obsessive about it. We were
I came home in the best shape of my life, actually.
We were doing at least 2 workouts a day.
Oh, yeah.
Lindsay was doing 3 workouts. We would go for
an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. We had nothing to do.
Just remember being in there and just fucking being like, all right, go to the gym.
Right.
And we were hearing stories. It was really funny because we could not get our hosts, Jody Winchesky, Amazing Race contestant and Survivor casting agent,
such an amazing,
and Kelly English, who is a world-class tour guide.
Tour guide Kelly, Machine Gun Kelly. We had them both. Yeah,
we were trying so hard to get them to tell us a little bit about who they had taken to Costa Rica, from the previous season.
They said it was a disaster. They
said it was a disaster. They said a few things. They would not tell us any names, but the one thing they told us was their group would drink a lot and get into trouble with some of the local ladies of the night.
Right.
And we were warned quite extensively based on the experiences. Now, think about who is on that cast.
I would love to know.
Survivor Season 29. Who were the pre-merge boots? Let's see. There was Nadia. Jesus. There was Nadia. There was Dale. There was Kelly Wentworth. There was John Rocker. There was Val. There was Drew Christie. Who else? Who else was pre-merged that season? Am I leaving anybody out? Well, even with that group, just think of the sort of trouble.
I can imagine.
Also told about at a certain place that we went that had a healthy population of frogs, that one of the castaways, one of the pre-merged, Julie McGee, John Rocker's girlfriend, one of the castaways was picking up frogs and throwing them at full speed.
Launching them, right.
Now, at the time, that sounded terrible, but when you put 2 and 2 together and realize that the guy who was throwing those frogs was an anabolic steroid abusing 6'7", 6'9", former Major League Baseball pitcher. Can you imagine walking across that pool deck in Manuel Antonio
launching
and a fucking frog being thrown at 98 miles an hour.
Everywhere.
I mean, these huge toads.
Bigger than my hands. Yeah, it was absolutely unreal.
I mean, the sloths in the tree. We were calm.
Yeah.
We were very mellow. Listen, we worked out. We went to the beach. Vince meditated, and
we followed the rules. I think Vince was probably one of the the ones that didn't listen more than anybody.
Yeah,
because he would, and that wasn't even that bad. He would just go off on his own.
He was out chasing tail.
Right, exactly.
The rest of us were mellow. I mean, we just wanted to have good meals, get good rest, and go home.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of time where Nina was telling us about, salmon on Monday, chicken on Tuesday,
fucking
salmon
Nina,
on Wednesday.
Geez. Yeah.
And we heard.
I can't live that life, but yeah.
We heard a lot about everybody's experience in the game. But, for the most part, we got out there and we were just like, let's have some fun. Let's just chill and relax. I definitely remember So was not happy to see me when I came home on the first night. Oh, boy,
yeah.
She gave me a grilling. Well, you weren't there.
I know, but I got
you heard about it.
All. Trust me.
But by the time we were in Costa Rica, So and I had worked through our shit.
Great.
I mean, I loved her. I mean, I always say I only voted So out because I knew that she was going to be really, really good at the game.
It still should have been Shireen, though, man.
Hey.
But,
no.
I
have to listen. I have to stick with my decision.
Nah, it's your girl. Well, I don't know about it anymore.
Well, listen.
The grapevine that's not doing too good. That
Shireen is my girl, no matter what. So, I think maybe we should wrap up at this point.
It's 3 hours. Wow.
3 hours. We got 39 viewers still with us.
Guys,
I
thank
really
you so
appreciate
much.
it.
Yeah, it means the world to us.
I listen. When we set out to do this, Spencer McRae said, you just keep your episodes about a half hour. That's all it really takes. Well, here we are coming up on 3 hours, and we probably could do another 3. We still haven't even finished this bottle of wine, so we're probably going to do that. But listen, guys, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you are checking this out on iTunes, again, subscribe on YouTube to the On the Block Podcast Network for all of not the best, the second best podcasts on Survivor, Big Brother, Amazing Race, your favorite reality shows. We all know Rob Sesternino is still the best. But yeah, we're doing something different here, especially on all the Fixins.
I like it. And
this is a different approach.
Like it. Yeah,
I hope so. Deep. And at the very least, I get to come visit people who I love.
If you fight around,
like this guy.
Miles.
I get some miles.
Back some miles up.
Joaquin, thank you so much.
Maxie, my friend. I love you.
I feel like the conversation's not going to end now, and we'll have you on again because
I'm sure of it.
The people. One thing I know is that a lot of people who watched the show felt like they got robbed when they only got 6 episodes of Joaquin.
Man, and I tried to give you guys all I possibly could, and hopefully you guys see me out there again. Like I said, it would be amazing to do the Amazing Race. This guy Rodney,
I hope
it's up to you guys. You guys let them know how you feel. Let them know if that's something you guys want to see. I promise you, we won't let you down, and it'll be 1 hour of nonstop laughs.
And then 1 hour, only 1 hour because you guys go home after the first episode, or you mean an hour after?
1 hour, hour after hour. You're right, 100% right.
No, I not just speaking as this guy's friend, but also just as a guy who considers himself first and foremost a fan of Survivor. You have no idea. This kid kept us in stitches. I mean, we didn't even get into some of the stories about the trip, the story about you jumping out the window and the hat and all. I mean, like this kid's adventures, both before Survivor and after.
Night, and while we'd go to sleep, everybody would turn to me and be like, "All right, Joaquin, can you tell us a story?"
Tell us a story.
And I would be like, "Sure." And I would tell him adventures of running around Europe and like I said, what was it? Was it loose women? What was it?
Expensive champagne, loose women.
And I just told them stories after stories, and they would literally fall asleep to my stories.
Oh, no. Listen, we didn't fall asleep to your stories, dude. They kept us riveted at the edge of our bamboo seats.
Good. I'm glad I could have kept everybody laughing. That was my job. I just wanted to be good entertainment for you guys. I wanted to make everybody at home laugh.
Well, you kept us entertained, and I honestly want to say to all the people who are still listening that if you ever get a chance to cast a vote for someone to have a second chance of playing this game and you see the name Joaquin Souberbielle on that list, You just throw a vote that kid's way. You won't be disappointed. This
Thank
kid
you,
will
Max.
entertain
I really
you. He will play his heart out. He goes all out. He plays hard. And he came to love this game in a way that I don't think anyone expected he would. He really, really developed an authentic love for this game.
Yeah, and give me some time, though. I want to get a couple more seasons in under my belt, so I go in there like ready to kill everybody. But thank you, Max. I appreciate the chance of being on here.
No worries, dude.
Stellar guy. I couldn't ask for a better friend.
All right, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for sticking with us for all this time. This is Max Dawson for all the Fixins saying goodbye until next time. Who knows who we'll have on next week? I will be back in LA.
Surprise, can't wait.
Surprise guest. I've got a few people I've talked to, a few requests, but we will keep it up with this current trend where each week we go to the home of another survivor. We crack a bottle of wine and we talk about all the stuff that you will never hear on any other podcast, mainly because no one else gives a shit besides me. But thank you guys and good night.